I'm Luke Manson and this is the Kiwistyle podcast. Here I talk to my friends in the New Zealand hardcore scene about what they've been up to and what they're gonna get up to. I'm the singer of the band Exile and I've been playing in New Zealand hardcore bands non-stop for the last 19 years. And in that time I've made a lot of good friends, and right here is where I'm gonna share those stories on the Kiwistyle podcast. Today on the podcast, we've got Dave and Ryan Jordan, two brothers who have grown up in the Hamilton hardcore scene in the early 2000s. You might remember them from fronting such bands as One Must Fall, 21 Guns, Bad Medicine, Regime, Rolling with the Punches, and Dave's current band, The Break-In, who've just released a new EP called They Are Watching Us. Go check that out. In this podcast, Dave and Ryan define their own influences and styles. I think this conversation shines a different light on New Zealand hardcore than previous episodes. It's an awesome insight into how religious families can get into objectively extreme music and navigate that side of life. It's a very different story than my introduction and life getting into the scene, but that's what's so cool about these conversations. Now, this episode has been up on the Kiwistyle podcast Patreon for a couple weeks now. If you want to support the channel so I can invite more guests onto this podcast, please consider joining the Patreon. It's only a few dollars and you'll get every episode early. I've also just reprinted these Exile album artwork t-shirts if you want to pick up some new merch. I'll leave the link to the Kiwistyle podcast Patreon, the Exile merch store, and Dave's band, The Break-In's socials, and link to their new EP, They Are Watching Us, below in the description. If it's your first time tuning into the Kiwistyle podcast, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, smash that like. It's time for the Jordan brothers on the Kiwistyle podcast. Let's get into it. Let's have a bit of fun. All right, boys, welcome to the Kiwistyle podcast. We've got Ryan Jordan, Dave Jordan. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Lovely to be here.
Nice.
Yeah, fucking tired.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to talking about Hamilton hardcore, you guys' introduction to heavy music and some of the cool and influential bands that you've been in. Who's older, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm the older brother.
Yeah. Does that mean you got into it first, or?
We kind of got into punk and hardcore probably at the same time. Yeah, I guess for our introduction into alternative music, I became friends with Dylan Walker, who fronted a lot of bands in Hamilton. We sort of connected through the youth group scene. So we both, David and I grew up in a Christian family, so there's youth group connections, and then Dylan kind of connected through a youth group, and sort of we started watching local bands at that stage, bands like Pugface, Scar Trek. They were kind of like
Blaze On.
Yeah. So Blaze On was that was one of Andre Rowe's bands. So yeah, sort of just some crossover, I guess, of Christian punk rock and ska, and then we got into I guess the American music, got into MXPX, and then we progressed kind of slowly, kind of into the heavier music. So David was kind of always in the mix.
Probably just tagged along.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah. So we were into a bit of skateboarding as well. So initially it was the punk rock skateboarding.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of factors there. There's the local Christian music scene, which always, I think in Hamilton has always had a little bit of a punk. Well, not always, but it's had a punk and hardcore flavour that predates our involvement. And then I think with the skating and that sort of culture, there was obviously like pop punk was really big at the time.
Yeah,
so we want
that's
something.
a massive link up of everyone. That's like my introduction to heavy music is like BMX videos. So when you guys say skate videos, that makes sense that it's that it kind of blankets that era of the 90s and the early 2000s for like teenage kids and like what's cool.
Yeah, the soundtrack of Tony Hawk skateboarding was, it's that you kind of, it ends up being an entry in you. And at that stage too, where that's where we started looking at who the bands are thinking, and you find out other bands, through the CD inlays. And there was also locally in Hamilton, there was another factor, kind of in two-pronged thing, was that Gus Rowe, who was the father of Bennett and Andre, who were kind of involved in that first generation of Hamilton hardcore music. I'd consider us probably more third or fourth generation of hardcore in Hamilton. It was kind of well established by the time we started getting into hardcore. So Gus Rowe was Andre and Bennett's father. He was also still involved in a local Christian organisation called Youth for Christ, and then he was heading a thing called Non-Toxic, which was putting on shows. So that was kind of, there was something provided for us to kind of, get a taste of hardcore, which we got into.
It was a crazy time though as well, right? Like you couldn't just hop onto YouTube or Instagram or whatever the kids are using these days.
Yeah.
Sounding a bit too old now. Like you'd literally you'd look in the liner notes of a CD and see who other bands thanked, and you'd say, oh, they've been thanked by like 3 bands that I like, so I'll order a CD off the internet. I'll get Mum's credit card and hopefully not get
scammed.
or you'd go to a CD store. Like, remember those?
What was the CD store in Hamilton? Because we had
Tracks and
Big Tones was it Big Tones?
Big Tones was the used one, but we had like a Tracks and stuff because you could go into them and some of those record labels, they had distributors, so you could order a CD and so you'd go in
even if they didn't have it in stock.
Yeah.
If you knew they were a distributor, they could special order it.
Yeah,
for you.
I remember going to order Converge's new CD from Tracks, and it took like 3 months to turn up or something. I was like, I actually don't like this. I think it was universally their worst album. I was like, I don't even really listen to Converge, but yeah. But that was the experience, right? You couldn't just like try a band out on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. You had to like have a mate get the CD or.
There was a lot of just buying, like investing that $20-$25 in a CD, not even really knowing if you're going to like it. You could go up to the counter and have a little listen to it. Before purchasing, and
because they had the headphones and the CD stand, same as up in Auckland. I used to do that with Slayer CDs.
Yes, go listen to it.
Yeah.
So there were definitely albums, and funnily enough, there were albums I think that we wrote off that later on down the track. And that's awesome! Like, that's actually an amazing album. So ebbs and flows. Like, I remember like bands like Blood for Blood just being like, oh, that sounds terrible, and then you get a taste for it, and you're like, no, this is me.
Yeah. Even
the vocals of Death Threat, I think initially was like, it's a bit, because he's a little bit different, I guess, to your like your traditional hardcore vocalist. So the sound of it, and then you start, it kind of becomes an acquired taste, and it's like, it's amazing. Like, I love Death Threat vocals now, and
You always, and as vocalists in bands, we'll probably leaping way ahead, but as vocalists in bands, when you hear like a band with a point of difference, you're like, oh, like they're actually doing something different with their vocal style. It's not clean singing. Like, don't do that. But, it's like, Death Threat vocals. You had a little time of doing, what was your high pitched one?
Like Brothers Keeper style.
Brothers Keeper style. I tried to sound like the Cookie Monster at some point. Not One Must Fall. Roll with the Punches was to the point that on the New Zealand Hardcore Google Drive, shout out to that,
the existence.
You can get everything that's ever come out in New Zealand Hardcore on that. It's awesome. I think it's the only one where there's a version of the album with and without vocals.
Oh yeah,
it was just like awesome for me.
Because you wanted to take yourself off it.
Because people are like, this is mean music, but those vocals not
no
for
good. Oh, dude. Fuck, before I forget about it. So you said something that I've actually never heard of existing in New Zealand, which was Christian punk. So when, I've had Vasily on, obviously, so Christian metalcore, and I've had the younger guys like Amanaki, and those guys got into it through Christian as well. And then you mentioned Christian punk, so I didn't know Christian punk exists.
So MXPX, like you wouldn't know it, but I think they're like, they are Christians. So obviously as young Christian kids, you kind of knew, even if they weren't overtly Christian, they might have been on a Christian distribution or label at some point, or they had members from another band, so it'd be like, oh, this band's Christian, we can listen to it. No, we're never like that, but. There was definitely, and in New Zealand you had like Pugface, Holdfast, and so they were, and there was tours like with, hardcore bands like One Must Fall would tour with Holdfast, and I mean, it probably speaks to how big pop punk was at the time. Because you have a Christian spin-off.
One thing is when we do dial it back on these podcasts, it was almost like when I got into it in the mid 2000s, it was like split down the middle. There was like a whole Christian scene and Christian bands.
Yep.
And it's been a good learning experience for me because I was like on the opposite antagonist.
Yep.
Not the band antagonist, but the bands that would antagonize those sides of the bands, playing in like anti-Christian bands. And it's not since I've kind of dropped the the teenage angst or whatever that I'm now like diving into it and more prepared to see your guys' like point of view. And one thing I did ask a manaki was, one thing that always tripped me out, I was just like, surely no one's letting you play this hardcore music at the churches or whatever. And the manaki guy said that some people were like really accepting of it, and there was people that were like completely not, and that you weren't allowed to use their spaces. Yeah. What was your guys' experience?
Oh, I still remember one of my favorite stories was the and I'm not calling her out or anything, but the local music or worship leader from our church growing up, coming around for lunch one day and seeing Ryan's CD collection and being like, sick of it all. In a nation with the highest per capita suicide rate, and you're listening to a band called Sick of It All. Like that band is quite positive, you know. Like
yeah,
they've got a lot of
what
good
was your
messages.
response?
I think I just nodded and I think I might have said, well, maybe they're sick of suicide, but
You threw it back at him. Fuck, that's funny.
Yes, there's a lack of cognitive dissonance sometimes in Christian circles, and I definitely, from a sheltered Christian background, I remember it's still I didn't go straight into the best at hardcore. I still had that kind of like, I need to make sure I've still got some wholesome values and lyrics in my music content. So and we were fortunate, the States have Face Down, which was primarily Christian focused punk and hardcore music. So I started listening to it, and it's some amazing, like some bands on there that in their own right are amazing hardcore. But like No Innocent Victim is I'd still turn that on now, and it's a great hardcore band. But I think there's a danger in your own echo chamber, only listening to the values and the lyrics that you want to be listening to. So it was good. Eventually,
I think Mum jumped into bat for you on the Sick of It All CD. To be honest,
True.
Did she? Yeah, as you know, mums, they're fierce supporters of their sons and their sons' endeavours. So Mum was. I think she pretty quickly realised that it's a good thing to be involved in. I think there's I actually thought this might come up in the conversation, but I mean, there's a huge amount of parallel between, I guess, the youth group scene, and any scene really.
Well, that was a massive thing in America, was the youth group scene, right? So Christian hardcore did have a lot of. Wasn't just New Zealand, even though I think that it seemed like the percentages were really quite high in New Zealand compared to other places, but maybe it was massive overseas too. But the youth thing was a massive message of American hardcore bands too. I
think what Non-Toxic did well, and what Hamilton maybe did well, was we didn't really do, like, we played a few church shows like around the place. We went on the Life FM national tour, but with One Must Fall. But by and large, Non-Toxic, Ryan.
Sorry, what's Non-Toxic?
Luke Flintoff. So Non-Toxic was the spin-off from Youth for Christ that was Gus Rowe. Then what did it just become? Luke Flintoff pretty much straight away, and Ryan got involved.
Yeah. Luke and I purchased a PA together. That was kind of the foundation for show. Like, definitely basic.
They were never
gear.
Christian shows though. Like, it was a Christian organisation, but it was like, this is a spin-off from Youth for Christ, but there's no sermon at the end of it. There's no altar call trying to convert people. It's like this is just a good music scene to support and build up.
And Gus and I guess Mum and our parents were fortunate. They recognised it as pretty positive, wholesome teenage angst. Like it was a pretty good alternative to other options. And,
I still remember, like, one of my favourite Non-Toxic story shows was, because I'd go along to these things, and I guess my mates were able to say, "Oh, we're going to go watch Dave's band. It's a youth group event," It's a Christian thing.
Oh, so you could get out of the house and
Yeah. And the parents would be like, oh, well, if it's a youth group thing, it'd be entirely fine.
Nothing goes wrong in youth groups.
They'd pick up like a liter of vodka and just wander around the town. They wouldn't even watch the band. So they were probably the precursors to the thrash scene of like just drinking outside on the steps.
Okay.
Just get totally wasted. A mate of mine who was actually from like a Salvation Army family. He managed to convince his parents that he was going to this youth group event, and then 1 a.m, they get a call because the police had found him like passed out under a shop front and taken him back to the cells because it was the only place to take like a 14-year-old kid. It's
True.
And
what was at the end of it? He ruined it for everyone.
at the end of the day, our parents would have been like, "Well, we know you're not doing that because like you're in a band, so if you're blind drunk, you're like
You've got a show to play." Yeah.
But I guess it's all to say like it maybe in hindsight it was like a safe outlet for angst and stuff, but there was elements of it where it's like it's actually just freedom to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Maybe the youth group flavour gave it a little bit of a whitewash to make the parents cool with it. But
True.
yeah, not to say non-toxic was some sort of youth group event. It just totally wasn't. It was just a show.
Cool.
Yeah.
My mind's going down a tangent just with the Christian punk hardcore crossover, and I think it might be the same overseas. Maybe there's a correlation. I guess Christian families often train their kids up to play instruments and to be on the worship team, and you have these skills, so you can transfer it to bands. Or
an incredible sidetrack to that. I know what you're saying. So when you go to when you go to China, there's like these amazing musicians, like guys that smashing drums, like incredible on guitar, like sweeps and all this shit. And you go and ask them like how you get so good, and just like, oh, I've just been learning it as I was a kid. I'm a classical musician that just happens to like metalcore or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know if they've been beaten into playing that instrument, but
yes,
but I know what you mean. Like so, like in more of those traditional families, you pick up a traditional instrument, and maybe if you go on to hearing punk or hardcore or something, you've already got that skill set. Whereas like I heard music first, then fudged my way on the instruments all the way until I become okay at it.
Yeah. Well, it's you're being hard on yourself there, but I think if you're terrible on the worship team, you can be incredible in a hardcore band.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's why you should always hire metal musicians for your hardcore band. Yeah,
yes. And that kind of made me think too about David and I. We both love performing and love karaoke, but we're both hearing impaired, so we can't hear tone. So hardcore was kind of another reason why that was, our limited musical.
It was either hardcore or become a spoken word artist.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not singing.
So we loved the performance element of it. Both of us. I mean, David's definitely, I would consider more of a performer than me, but I still am drawn to that kind of being on stage and singing, but not in tune. I can't. I'd love to sing in tune. I'd give up.
Without jumping ahead, we'll take a little jump ahead. So who sung "Eye of the Tiger" at an opening?
That was a 21 Guns.
It would have been
kind of opening riff.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, I don't know if I sung. It was more Luke, the guitarist, kind of found the.
You definitely did "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" or whatever, that Poison song. Yeah, and I think you sung that and played it on a guitar with a blonde wig.
Yes,
and a leather vest.
Yeah. And it led into
this footage of this exists.
Yeah. There's some footage of it. I feel like it was.
What was the point of this happening?
Was it before Sick of It All? No, I wouldn't have done it before Sick of It All.
It was a similar kind of setup though. Like I remember the stage being like
divided in half.
Was it Buy Nothing Day?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Buy Nothing Day.
Yeah.
Was it like a crack-up joke?
Oh yeah, it was kind of. We definitely had an element of like having a laugh with.
Or your influence.
I mean, lyrics. I'm 50% serious, like 90% of the time. So,
absolutely, yeah, good odds, right?
Yeah, like a highlight of one of your shows is they had a Christmas show, and like they were dressed up as elves and reindeer, and Dave was inside this massive wrapped up Christmas gift, and it was Yeah, and then it was just kind of sitting in the front of the stage, and then when the set started, he busted out of the Christmas gift, and his head popped out the front of it, and he just performed the whole show in a Christmas gift. Like, yeah, there was lots of gimmicky stuff. It was a little bit youth groupy, but yeah, it was fun. Like, yeah.
So were these shows that you guys were the only hardcore band on? Was this like a hardcore show that you were doing it at?
The thing with shows back then, I mean, they were definitely like scene shows, but the thing with the Hamilton scene back then is, and I think it was something that Luke was pretty passionate about, Luke Flintoff, he would always get a mix of genres. So you might have two hardcore bands. You'd have like Holdfast, like they basically just about played every show back then. You might have like, so that's a pop punk sort of band.
Yeah.
Probably on the heavier side of pop punk though. And then you'd have like This Night Creeps and potentially like some like metal band that from, you know, and the idea was you'd have a real
roll
blended,
dance as well.
you'd have a real blended mix of people at the show.
Yeah.
And so there's a ton of people that we knew and we were quite close with back then that probably weren't actually into hardcore, but they were always at hardcore shows.
The guys like Ross coming in from Cambridge playing, was it Rain at Night? Like
Rain at Night, yeah.
And Granny Pash was around, and they were playing kind of more ska style music. There was a blend of flavour. We were definitely drawn to the heavier music.
So who were the heavy bands playing before you guys were in bands? Who were you going to the shows and moshing to?
So the bands that spring to mind, like Misled by Lies, which is essentially Ulcerate now, like Jamie and Mike, like they're still together, right? And Ulcerate, so they were Misled by Lies, and they were like musically incredible. And I really loved that. Even though now I'd say I'm more into the punk end of hardcore, they were just phenomenal.
Wodsey was in Misled by Lies as well.
Yeah, Wodsey was in Misled by Lies, and then
Phil Smithers.
And Daredevil was sort of the end of Bennett Rose hardcore. So we were kind of catching the end of Bennett Rowe, who was like one of the initial hardcore guys in Hamilton. He was fronting that band, and Bones played in that band. He played guitar, and who was the New Zealand past and present, and then also Wurzel was on the drums, who became the Evil Priest drummer. Baldus was on bass for that one, and he was the Evil Priest bassist. So we were catching
Envoy, who was like maybe like rapcore, like
and that was
because rapcore was massive then as well.
Like new metal, like
new metal,
Limp Bizkit kind of infused. Were they good?
Probably terrible in hindsight, but they were amazing for me as a 14-year-old.
I think
sounds like something I'd be
seeing
into.
a live band playing heavy music when you're not really trained to what it's supposed to sound like. It's like pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. As long as it's loud and it's all happening and you're there. Yeah. I remember that vibe.
But Misled by Lies musically were very good. Like
well, you'd expect it, right?
Just very tight, very on, tuned up and like Jamie as a drummer back then was amazing. Like he's an amazing drummer.
I'm almost certain that they played the Non-Toxic stage at Parachute as well, which kind of speaks to that whole thing of like there wasn't that distinction. Non-Toxic was such a positive thing for the Hamilton scene in terms of like they weren't putting on shows at churches with Christian bands. It was just that was who
they didn't want to leave anyone out as well.
And it's so funny, like to think like 1must4 was a very Christian band. Like the drummer was the son of a pastor. I think he's a pastor now. Got old Avalanche City on the guitar there. So actually the bassist and the drummer. So Dan and Josh were both pastors' sons and still very much involved in the church and studying at like religious education institutes at the time, which is where we recorded the CD. But we were playing shows with Evil Priest who were like singing like "Fuck by God," and we were out the front going like "Fuck by God."
we loved it.
I always thought it was weird like that time. Like I didn't have a problem with songs about like most things. Like killing someone, dismembering them, whatever Promise of Bloodshed was actually singing about. I don't know. I just thought it was amazing.
Those things.
Yeah. But then I had a real odd thing. Like I always found it real weird. Like Josh Moffat had like 100 Demons jersey. Okay. And as a Christian kid back then, I was like, I'll do anti-religious stuff. I'll do songs about killing people and hacking them up. I'll do all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know about having like something demonic on a shirt, because that's the element of the Christian upbringing that probably lasted the longest for me. And so it's kind of weird, and maybe it's coming through that pop punk like route where it's like quite friendly and happy and smiley faces, and I'm like, I don't know if I want this like dark demonic imagery.
Yeah.
Because you raised on this idea that like demons are going to get into your head and you're gonna end up like possessed or something.
Okay.
Whereas I think if you're getting into hardcore through the metal route, even as a Christian kid, probably like, well, fuck, demons are part of this, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I got a good story. I need to find out what the name of it is. So, expanding on that story, my friend from America, he sent me this vintage Thy Art Is Murder T-shirt from their EP, The Adversary, or maybe it's their first album. And I didn't really ask for it. He just sent it to me because I'm friends with those guys in the band. And he had this old T-shirt, and he gave it to me because I think he didn't fit it anymore. And then it turned up, and it was just like it's just like extremely satanic T-shirt, right? And my missus is from Brazil and like a real heavy Christian family as well. And I looked at it and I was just like, whoa, I'm not wearing this. And then so I folded it up. And then I think she was just like doing the washing, and she found it. And she finds it. She goes, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. The priesthood.
Yeah. She's like, throw this away. Yep. Throw this away right now. And I was like, man, I can't throw it away. It's like a vintage T-shirt. And then she's like, get it out of the house. And then she put it by the door and sprinkled salt on it. Wow. And it's sitting down there. It's sitting down in the car park.
Yeah.
In the car park shed, like in a box.
I laugh, but that's
yeah.
Totally, like, and I mean, we grew up in a household where, like, there was certain TV shows that we didn't watch, and this is super common in Christian upbringings, right? Like, we didn't watch The Simpsons.
Oh, no way.
We weren't allowed to watch Captain Planet and the Planeteers because of the spiritual element.
Yeah,
like what?
And like music as well.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's just trying to save the planet.
Oh man.
Music as well. Like we were solely like a Life FM family, and like our music was all purchased from the Christian bookstore.
Yeah, that's right.
Until we kind of got this punk and hardcore influence. So like we're literally going from like whatever's playing at Parachute Music Festival and on Life FM. That's what we're listening to. And there's a ton of kids and adults who are probably still in that space to like. 100 Demons, Evil Priest, our local band's Evil Priest, our favorite CDs, 100 Demons, and we're all just like, yeah, we go to church, but also,
we almost. Well, I definitely
also we're bad boys.
I had to play catch up, probably after getting into all those hardcore bands. Had to almost play catch up on all the mainstream rock bands, just classic, even stuff like the Eagles, like stuff I just didn't grow up.
Are you talking about like POD and stuff? Was that like
POD was big, so and that's another thing where you could have like POD potentially. I don't think they ever did, but they're a band that could have played Parachute because that new metal thing was massive then. Heaps of Christian kids would have been like, new metal's really cool, but I just want a Christian version, so I'm okay.
Well, new metal had a Christian element too, wasn't? I might get this extremely wrong, but wasn't like Korn a Christian band as well?
Oh, I don't
know. The guitarist from Korn ended up. Like that. This is after they became after they were big. But what's his name?
Head. Is it
Head? I'm not sure if that's his his given name.
I'm not sure if Mother called him Head. Yeah.
Nah, Head's from another band.
I don't know.
Well, I wonder if he come out the other end. I might have called him Feet.
Classic.
He ended up. Is his name Brian? Brian something.
Brian Welch.
Is that
that's his name?
Yeah. He ended up coming to Parachute as a preacher to talk about like his testimony, they call it, of like how he had been saved from his dark, depraved life sort of thing by, I'm not making light of it, like good on him. Maybe
cool.
He was in a pretty dark place at some times.
Well, those guys were having like parties on private jets. They had so much money back then.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Disgusting.
Evil life.
Yeah, I hope that never happens to me.
Yes.
It is funny, like, That is a whole element.
He's a superstar, right? So, like, take me back to when he's talking. That guy's like an actual rock legend. The people were listening, right?
So, to be fair, this probably post-dates my involvement in Christian music, Brian Welsh converted to becoming Christian probably after I stopped going to church and writing Christian songs and things. But from what I understand, like that whole scene, the Christian sort of youth scene, they love a good testimony of like, just how depraved you were before you found the Lord. And you're like, it was horrible. I was sleeping with a different woman every night, and it was just absolutely shocking. And
Coke, heroin.
I had so much money. Everyone thought I was the man, but it was really bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. I think coming back to your story about Haisa with the church, I think there's a huge hold on people's cultural upbringing. And for us, we're definitely raised in that kind of sheltered evangelical world. But I mean, we were fortunate our parents, especially mum, was cynical enough, had critical enough to look back at ourselves with things. And you could definitely see for the American Christian hardcore bands, there's an evangelical American influence coming in through that, and we probably didn't. Well, I didn't see it at the time, and
I think that the local, the current Christian metal hardcore scene are maybe a little bit in danger of that. If you have that split, I think you. I mean, I'm not one to speak right, because I'm not in a Christian hardcore band anymore, and I don't sort of evangelize at all through music. And I don't know if I want to make a huge statement on what my personal beliefs are, but it's fair to say they're not the same as I was when I was 21. And so, but I think there's a risk when you split yourself apart like that. It's just. It's not authentic. That's what I was going to get at. The parallels between youth group and the hardcore scene. That's one thing. But there's also, depending on your version of Christianity, and a lot of this is like your political beliefs and things like that. There's a version of Christianity that's extremely compatible with hardcore. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to Jason's interview with you the other day, and he's talking about like the lyrics that Wadzi was writing with. Like there's a version of Christianity that's absolutely disgusted by the likes of Brian Tamaki, disgusted by abuse in more organised churches, which is not to say they're not all like that, but I think as well, just like politically, there's a massive spectrum of Christianity, and I think if you have a purely Christian scene, you kind of have to make up the numbers of like the different types of bands, and you're bound to have a band in there who sings something like gay people shouldn't be able to get married or something, because it offends our religious beliefs. It's like, actually, nah, like. That's got no place in the scene,
100%. So would it go to the other extreme of like people would even just start talking about stories in the Bible, or like angels, like a story of this angel or what this person did? Did it go to that?
What's that band? There's a metal band like that.
Zao, right?
No, Zao was cool, but there's a metal, like more of like a Slayer type metal band.
You're talking about. With the imagery, in the Christian music scene, I can't remember.
Well, even like is Demon Hunter? Is that a Christian band? They're like Demon Hunter is like they use all the imagery of like demons and devils, but they're like, but we're actually hunting them. Like we're actually
killing them. Kind of like Pig Destroyers, like a vegan band, and they've got like there's another real popular one, but then they use all that imagery, but they've also got like the complete opposite.
Well,
Christian metal band?
No Innocent Victim. They were on Victory Records, which at the time Victory Records was the kind of the pinnacle of hardcore. Yeah. Well, the American style hardcore anyway. And their big album that came out was at that time on Victory was Flesh and Blood. So, and the lyrics are, "We don't fight flesh and blood, we're fighting spiritual powers." And it's like that's sometimes what Christian people can get hung up on. It's like you lose touch of reality, though. You lose touch of there's still lots to fight for, and in the real world. Not to ignore the spiritual dimensions and stuff, but
while you've got the brainwaves going, continue where you wanted to head.
Yeah, so the band I was thinking of was Striper.
Okay.
And I what I was getting at there was that they, there was a version of metal at that time maybe it's hair metal, I don't know, but it's quite fantastical. It's about dragons and shit like that. And I think Stryper probably took that biblical imagery and just did their version of that. So, it was like songs about stuff happening in the Old Testament, Samson slaying thousands of people with a donkey jawbone or something. Like, you could write a pretty sweet song about that.
Sure. I didn't know that was happening, but it makes sense. Why wouldn't people be like turning the Bible scripture into every version of music? If they're turning it into country and into pop and stuff, why is it, makes
and the
sense.
Old Testament is pretty metal, to be fair. And the New Testament's probably pretty metal too. I mean, imagine...
Yeah, Revelation's pretty metal.
Yeah, definitely. Revelation, you could probably write a whole metal album just based on Revelation. Revelation alone. And it could be Christian or like anti-Christian, to be fair. Like,
sure.
Because a lot of like anti-Christian metal stuff just draws on the pageantry of the liturgy of, like the satanic church is basically just a parody of like the Catholic Mass.
I went to the satanic church in Boston when we recorded that latest Antagonist album. We were walking through there. It's got the satanic church. We knocked on the door, but no one home.
No.
Well, maybe,
Maybe it's a daytime.
It was the daytime. No, it was the
Satan,
daytime.
famously nocturnal. Satan. So,
I was bummed out.
And it's the dark mass, so wouldn't have it in the daytime.
Makes sense.
So that whole era. I mean, Stryper was. I think they maybe had some like reasonable. What do you call it? Like non-Christian, like secular success, metal success. But they probably always have that that tarnished with that kind of thing. The novelty of being a Christian metal band. But then you had that era of like Under Oath, As I Lay Dying, Demon Hunter, as I mentioned, and like Norma Jean.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was around the time of One Must Fall was quite big. That metalcore thing was really big. There was a lot of Christian kids into metalcore. Emo was massive at the time as well, and the obviously the jump from some of those bands to emo.
Or Saracen and Norma Jean and stuff. It goes screamo, and then you've got As I Lay Dying for your more hard outs, and then it went to like if you wanted to even get into deathcore, you had like Sleeping Giant and stuff. So like it had and
truth be told, that was my jam. Like around the time of One Must Fall, like I was a hardcore kid in like camo shorts or whatever, but I really did want to be an emo. I was in a screamo band, a Rockquest screamo band at one stage, and I just couldn't sing. Like I think if I could sing, I would have been in a bunch of emo bands.
There were those bands at that time like Pedro the Lion, Further Seems Forever, and like Dashboard Confessional. And like
Dashboard Confessional's Christian. Well, I mean, he was a Christian guy,
like
right?
a Christian element. Even though he's like singing about passion girls, it was like deemed a Christian band.
Well, Jesus loves,
Yeah, absolutely. but it was funny. Like a lot of the Christian crew at that time they loved that music and
So there was a total, and I think the danger with it then was, as I say, it went into an era when maybe it got big enough that it could be its own thing.
Well, then
and then you just end up with a Christian scene, and then you get the elements of Christianity that I personally don't have time for being represented in a band in your scene, and I'm like, well, we don't have white supremacist bands in the hardcore scene, so why should we have like shitty takes on Christianity in a metal scene?
I never heard that, but I mean that was in Jason's podcast when he was talking about that Damage song that didn't get released. It was called fuck the band's name. I forget what was the band's name.
Time Only Passes.
Fuck, Time Only Passes.
Yeah.
So
then that was probably post. I feel like One Must Fall played a Parachute around the time that there was a band called Upheld. I think that might have been the scene then. There was a real
Matt
big
Livingstone's band.
Yeah. There was a real big like Hawke's Bay, like kind of Gisborne vibe as well. I feel like Total Fucking Defiance was a real that's a real like a little bit of a mindfuck there, because Total Fucking Defiance is like this hardcore crew, like beat down sort of style, tough guy hardcore, and then it essentially becomes Saving Grace still with that tough guy kind of vibe to it, but like Tough Guys for Jesus kind of thing. And there's nothing inconsistent about that at all, I suppose, as should really be the point. That's not an inconsistency.
Yeah.
But
it's just interesting, It's just, just, I guess everyone's just out there making art and doing what feels good for them. And right?
I think we have to remember just our tiny population, and we are hugely influenced by the American music. But the little old Hamilton kind of drew these.
Yeah. There is no way Total Fucking Defiance is playing like a 2024 Christian metal show, right? Just with the name.
Yeah.
Because it's in a church. And so, I think some of the pearl clutching, we definitely had that with One Must Fall. But yeah, there was, I'm looking at the thank you list of the One Must Fall album now, and there's a bunch of like church pastors thanked in there. There's a Apostolic Training Center, which is like a Christian tertiary education institute, which Josh was going to at the time, like I say, where we recorded the album. And a bunch of these people, probably contacts through like the Life FM non-toxic. That's right, because who was doing the Life FM punk and hardcore show? They had a punk and hardcore show on Life FM, and that was what the tour was based on. I think that was.
He was a guy. He used to play bass in what was that Auckland punk band? Christian punk band.
Oh yeah, there was an Auckland Christian punk band.
Was it Steve Wood or was it?
Yeah, Steve Wood. Was he in Mum's Dollar?
Yeah, Mum's Dollar.
Mum's Dollar was the pop punk, the Auckland Pugface kind of thing, and they probably predated Pugface as well. Anyway, so yeah.
Well, you thanked as well Sam Coates in there, so there goes a Wellington Christian.
Yeah.
Well, he was actually Hamiltonian.
Hamiltonian.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he went to HBHS, Hamilton Boys High School.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he moved down there to study design.
He looks like he lives in the comment section on Facebook recently. That's where I see him most.
Well, I think he's still playing in bands and His
End of Empire is his current band. Before I lose my thought, when you were talking about Saracen, As LA Dying, and all of those bands, have you heard interviews of them recently where they talk about that time, and they talk about how Christian metalcore and Christian alternative music was so big, and they had so much money because they were getting a lot of money from the churches, same as like Face Down Records.
I totally believe it.
And they said that they had to stay Christian to get that, to keep getting that income stream, and it started to be taxing on them. Remember. Saracen particularly, or Saracen or Under Oath, maybe both of them, coming out and saying I was scared to tell my friends and fams that we weren't a Christian band anymore. And not only to disappoint them, but also the income stream come off.
I think we've got no idea of the size of the Christian music scene in the States.
It's mental. And so when you go back to like the non-toxic approach, where it's like, hey, we're a Christian organisation, but we think there's just a benefit in supporting the scene. I mean, that's just a whole lot more of a wholesome approach than like, we'll let Christian bands play at our venue.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and we've got the best venue.
Owning a venue is an awesome thing. That costs money, right? So really, even if they weren't giving you money back, they're letting you be in a safe place.
Yeah.
That had walls, lights, and a power socket. I mean, especially after we were talking about the shed, how you guys used to bring a generator up to a thing. So there goes the opposite. So really, even though you guys might not think he was giving you something, they still owned that space that you guys were in, and that cost money to have that in. And when someone kicked a hole in the wall or broke a window, they had to pay for it. So
non-toxic wasn't a venue, but they definitely had really good connections with the council. A lot of those venues now, like it's interesting hearing Sarah talking about like the challenges of putting on. So Sarah puts on Hamtown Smackdown now. You know Sarah, and the challenges of venues and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes I think, we just made it happen when we were kids. It wasn't a big deal. We just kind of DIY everything. But actually, like, it probably helped that we had like a 50-year-old youth group leader. He wouldn't have been 50 back then, but I don't know, like 40-year-old youth group leader to be like, hey, Youth for Christ is booking this venue. Yeah. Like, what could go wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But there was definitely, I remember Luke's father on a couple of occasions coming with his plasterboard and his plaster and patching up, walls and stuff that people had kicked coming up and down the stairs. 1 in the morning. Yeah,
after the show had happened the same night.
Even during the show, like you did because it was in town youth zone in particular, you'd end up with drunk people coming up and looking for a fight or a ruckus, and they'd be sent back down and they'd take it out on a piece of plasterboard, which is the kind of struggle that lots of promoters and in Hamilton with Sarah are facing, is just the mix of alcohol, people that don't actually want to be at the show, creating problems.
It's because young people are eternal, right? Like they were just like, you grow out of it, and then the next of the ones come up and they want to do exactly the same thing. It's almost like it's nature.
It's young people's way of taking control of their lives is by destroying things. And, I think it's just a part and parcel of the rite of passage, I guess.
May it never end, eh?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get into the first band. So you were talking about how more traditional Christian families would have more experience playing instruments, but both you two ended up singing. So
yeah, again, we were not musical. I think you had a bit of a turn on the recorder at some point for a while there, and Mum realised that was a dead end.
We'll ask her if she's got any home videos of this.
It is funny, like her mother is extremely musical, and she grew up with a mum that was in all the singing groups and playing piano. She was the leader of the singing group at her retirement village because she played the piano and stuff. She was like a performer. So I think we probably inherited the performance gene, but we didn't get the talent to go along with it, so we love being on stage and
the performance and the confidence and like the people facing aspect. Like some people can't hack that, right? They see someone on a guitar and they just want to look at the ground
there's a lot of talented people that can't handle being on stage, so it's the talent goes to waste. It's a shame. So we just bring our lack of talent, put it up there.
We
Jack of all trades, master of nothing. Oh, I vibe with that.
Well, sometimes it's just, that's what art should be about. It's just like, you just bring whatever, and if people enjoy it, that's good. I mean, if people like walk out of the room, you just stop doing it. But
I would say, like, through education, whatever, through what I was interested in, through creative outlets, I think I'm a pretty good lyricist. I like to blow my own trumpet. But
I would agree.
But I can't,
just to not leave you hanging on that one.
But I can't sing the words. So like I say, I was in an emo band at one stage in high school, and I wrote all the lyrics and stuff, and I had an idea of how I'd want the song to sound, but I can't sing, so I can't write the music to go with it. So hardcore's just so much better for that. Don't have to have a tune, roughly in time with the music.
That's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, walking into your first band then, Ryan.
So the first band I did was sort of probably, I'm going to say year 2000. And Dylan and I kind of, we're deep in our friendship, loving hardcore and wanting to find some sort of outlet for music-wise. We connected with Luke Flintoff, and he was able to play the guitar. And then we connected up with another guy, Jared Dobbs, who's a very talented drummer. And then we also, at that stage, I think Holdfast was already up and running, and the bassist from that, Nat Bristow, he joined. And then there was another guy we kind of knew from around that era as well. He was actually playing guitar in Scar Trek.
Scar Trek.
Yeah, Scar Trek was kind of the local Christian ska band. They were really good.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. They're all fantastic musicians. And they've got. I don't know if you've ever heard of Late 80s Mercedes or anything like that. No. Yeah, it's a Christian thing, but they're fantastic. I mean, they play a lot of school balls and stuff. They're like a real super fun band. They play like these kind of swing covers of like pop songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
But so Scar Trek was. I don't know if they did covers, but they're just a really fun ska band.
Yeah, they definitely played that Take On Me cover. So
I think the genesis of Scar Trek was probably the Salvation Army brass band.
Yeah.
Like no shit. Like literally. Yeah. Because Salvation Army always had a band. So again, Christian families teaching kids instruments.
Yeah.
So
I remember the Salvation Army band. Yeah, we'd go watch them down on the Whakatane on the Strand there and watch them go past. Yeah.
Having a toot.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking there was definitely that crossover probably from my Christian into just enjoying good hardcore music, and because I remember this band was called Bare Knuckle Brawl, and we were terrible. But we played the Parachute the following year, 2001. And I remember there was that point of tension, which you have. I remember we had a song, and I wrote it, and it was about abortion. It was an anti-abortion song, and that was my Christian influence, kind of coming down and being putting some pro-life lyrics into a song. And we were going to play it wasn't Punkfest, because Punkfest is in Wellington, but it was the equivalent.
No, it was Punkfest. You were going to play Punkfest.
Was it up
Yeah,
here?
you were
in
invited to play Punkfest. No, Punkfest was in Wellington.
No,
it was Punkfest in Wellington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
and Wellington was not open to a pro-life song.
Yeah. So we were just barred, cancelled my first hardcore band. And I totally understand it now, but at the time it's like, what, why can't I just have my
everyone
views?
needs their own opinion. And
Yeah.
no, your opinion's shit.
It's because Exile, I feel like sometimes Exile gets barred for having a lack of opinion. Do you know what I mean? And you guys are getting barred for just standing up for what you thought was right at the time.
I remember I remember Dave McDermott coming into bat for Bare Knuckle Brawl at that time, being like, we've all had shit opinions when we were kids, and I was like, that's kind of it's a funny way to come into bat for someone, to be like, they're full of, they don't know what they're talking about, but they're just kids. Like, let them play their shitty music. Yeah. Which in hindsight was pretty cool of them to say. But
and there were some older people from that scene. I remember that time that were really good about it. While they didn't agree, some people saw the parallels because the vegan community were massive. Some people saw that parallel. They were as vegans saying, well, of course, being vegan and pro-life. Not that I want to get into that kind of theology, but
they would have been more insufferable to me than a group of Christians at the time. A lot of vegans.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Especially with their lack of meat options back then, I would have. They probably were a bit more insufferable than they are now.
Yes, yeah,
very hungry.
So
very hungry.
That was an interesting kind of era for us. That band. To me, that band is the same band that probably went all the way through to the break-in.
So you reckon Bare Knuckle Brawl is essentially the break-in?
Yeah, I reckon Bare Knuckle Brawl's the break-in.
Yep.
Well, it's just tied up there then. There it goes. Everything in between, was it just the leading up to there?
Yeah. So, after Bare Knuckle Brawl folded, Luke and I kept our connection, and we... along with Josh and Ben Klinkerberg, we formed 21 Guns, which for, I guess, all the chatter around 21 Guns, it was only around for less than 6 months. No, I think of bands that are...
Bro, this is a classic Kiwi thing where bands that were just like a flash in the pan become legendary.
Yeah.
But you must have played every Youth Zone show for 6 months, though.
Yes.
Like every weekend.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice. And if people were like, well, 21 Guns is playing again.
Yes.
Cool name though. But I think so. Things hang around because of cool names as well. So I mean, it's a pretty memorable name.
I think that was Josh's idea. 21 Guns. It was, from the 21 Gun Salute. Yeah. It was just kind of only just before.
Surely it was longer than 6 months.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just before what Green Day did. 21 Guns. I was like, damn it.
Well, that's what happened when I searched 21 Guns on Spotify to put it on the Instagram story.
Yes.
And it just come up with Green Day.
Yes. Yeah. And then there was a little bit of it wasn't a major falling out, but yeah, kind of just for, bands are like relationships, 4-way or 5-way, 6-way relationships. Everyone's got to stay content and happy with each other, and it came to an end. And then we...
Go on, tell me more.
So tell me more about your 4-way.
4-way.
Was this so? So if this is your second band and you guys are, is this because there's a conflict of opinion on like Christian stuff, or is that?
No, none of the
So I think by 21 Guns, even though everyone in 21 Guns probably had met through Christian circles, I wouldn't have called 21 Guns like a Christian band.
No, we weren't. It wasn't a Christian band.
Yeah,
and
Bare Knuckle Brawl really shouldn't have been either. Like,
no,
well, yeah.
Well, Dylan has like a tiger with an upside down cross going through its mouth, and that its head on his throat now.
Yes.
Yeah, so he clearly has changed some of his views on Christianity. Yeah.
He's done some reflection. And,
No,
but at the time we were still connected to that youth group scene, Bare Knuckle Brawl. But 21 Guns had on its own terms was just a local hardcore band.
And Moth was in this one.
Yes, Josh Moffat was in the band.
Mad chiller. So I've been on
Yes.
a few tours with him around Europe
He's,
and in
he's,
Australia.
he's aggressively chill.
Aggressively chill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if he gets poked far enough, he'll react. Yeah, there is only very slim moments where I've seen, but I think particularly with, was it Dylan or Little Sam or one of those?
There's a Little Sam?
No, there was a couple of Sams. There was a tall Sam and a little Sam in our
And
friendship
Sam.
crew.
Yeah.
Sam was another Sam. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, just pushing Josh to the edge. I remember him like breaking one of those plastic party chairs like over someone. Like he just got pushed
Like
too.
WWE style.
Yeah, he just got pushed too far.
At Meat Fest.
But it's just not.
We used to go around to Josh's house to have Meat Fest.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like you weren't allowed salads there.
Yeah.
Last
So
time,
that was still the food. Yeah.
Classic.
last time I was on one of those plastic chairs, I was at a party ages ago, and this person didn't like me because my friend was dating his girlfriend.
Yes,
Come up behind me.
naturally, it wants to smash you.
Yeah,
That
it wants to
connection.
smash me.
Yeah.
because of that connection. And then so I was just sitting on this chair, and he pulls the hoodie over my head, holds it down up against my chest, and then just two guys just like start beating me, like punch me in the chest, like uppercutting me and stuff. And when they finally let me go, I took my hood off. I was like, all right, let's just do this properly, right?
Yeah.
And then no one wanted any of it.
Yes.
And I was like, you guys can pull a hood over my head, start beating me on a chair from behind,
And don't wanna
when I
carry
get
on.
up, you don't want to carry on.
Yeah,
That's my plastic chair story anyway.
that is very frustrating. Yeah,
Okay, 21 Guns.
21 Guns. So, and probably through a same turn of, I think it was a connection to a girl that the band ended. Not with jealousy or anything like that, but there was just a point of difference. I think that's why the band ended.
At that age, getting a girlfriend could definitely end a band.
Yes.
Because you spend time with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then you've ditched the boys.
That is the demise of the 20 members of Exile
But-
as a relationship.
But when you're 16, it's even more so. You're like, what do you mean?
you're in
Like,
love.
what do you mean you don't want to hang out after school? And then, yeah, you're right. When you're 16, you're like, this is the love of my life.
Yeah.
And so things are very intense at both ends of that spectrum. So whereas now, if my adult friend got a girlfriend, I'd be like, I'm so happy for you. That's
yeah, great. What's her name?
yeah.
Or his
We'll
name.
leave him on a double date.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic. When you're 16, you're like, you're doing fucking what?
Yeah.
Hanging out with girls. That's gay.
Yeah.
No.
So 21 Guns, is that your first time recording? Is that because
Yeah. We were
when I
fortunate-
looked into the albums
Yes.
of stuff, I didn't find any Bare Knuckle Brawl recordings.
Oh, you can find Bare Knuckle Brawl recordings. The one, Where's the Justice, I think was the song. That was, I think we recorded with some funding from some local project where they gifted money to local bands. So we did do a recording with it.
Wasn't it a young enterprise scheme from Fairfield?
Yeah, Fairfield College.
Fairfield College had a I don't know if you had young enterprise schemes and whatever school.
Whakatane High School.
Whakatane High School, but you study like what it means to run a business, and then you all start a business, and I don't know if you get any funding or whatever. But yeah, there was a young enterprise business from Fairfield College. It was actually Luke's brother, I think. He said, we'll put a CD out of all local punk and hardcore bands.
True.
It was called Against the Wall, I think.
Yeah.
If you
If you can
do
get a
Google
copy of
it.
it, mate, that's a
I'm
a
sure
great
the
CD.
Steiners and the
Yeah.
Bones have one somewhere
Yeah.
laying around.
Oh, possibly.
no
yeah.
doubt.
And then for the 21 Guns recording, we were fortunate in that I think Angelo put up the money for that recording with his record label Jailbait.
How much is money?
Well, I never saw any transferring, but we were able to use, is it Dryden Street, a studio to do the recording, and yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was pretty buzzy. Yeah.
Is it Dudley or Dryden? Dudley.
Oh, it is Dudley.
Yeah, get
Dryden.
Dudley up there on the thank you list.
Sorry, Dudley Studios. Dryden was the name of Dan Brendorfer's band.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And-
I was fortunate, I think that summer, maybe the summer, I had the CD to listen to. So I was well rehearsed by the time I got in to do our 14-minute CD. I can't remember how long the CD was, but it was.
I played it twice before
Yes,
this.
yeah, it's very short.
Yeah.
You did the vocals in one take, right? That was-
Yeah,
that
I
was
feel like
quite
it was
nice,
just vocals, do it,
Smashed
that,
it.
and out. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was very rehearsed.
Yeah, but also like you can overthink this stuff. Like it's shitty music, so just
Yeah.
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 Who's drumming?
Do your shitty vocals and get out.
Ben Klinkenberg was the drummer. Yeah. And so Ben and Luke had a long relationship from 21 Guns all the way through to the Breaking, right?
Yeah, so let's go through the names. We'll do a Jason Gascon version of Ryan's bands where it's the same band but just changing its name.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah.
And this is a sore point, I think. I just want to mention. This is a sore point for Josh. Is because...
Oh, because you didn't include him in the rest of them.
Because 21 Guns into Ryan and the Rockets or whatever the next one was is basically just like 21 Guns, but we've kicked Josh out, so we had to change the name in all the songs. Yeah.
Yeah. So...
so would you like to pull out an apology now? Or
my boy Josh.
Well, he might need to apologise for getting a girlfriend, I think.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Well, he left it with Antagonist, right? So he was doing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was still doing Antagonist at the time. And yeah. So
no apology then.
He fell on his feet.
He was all right.
He was fine.
So, yeah, was it Ryan and the Rockets, or was it...
Well, you're saying the story, man. It was Ryan rocks it. Ryan and the Rockets. Ryan rocks it. Bad Medicine. Nah.
Bad Medicine. Yeah, that's right. I can't. There was a few name changes following 21 Guns. It was essentially.
What other names were there? Ryan and the Rockets. Ryan rocks it. Bad Medicine.
Maybe that was it.
It feels like a lot more than that.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
So when you say this, it's the same members, and you're carrying on the style too.
Same songs, I think.
No, they weren't the same songs. Yeah, there was definitely a different.
So you changed your set list completely between Ryan and the Rockets and Ryan Rocks It. I think you just had a band that didn't have a name, and so the name changed in every time the poster came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't 21 Gun songs. That's
no,
yes.
it wasn't 21 Gun songs.
Yes, that's and then that band became the Breaking.
Yeah.
So as far as this is an extreme name change, isn't it? Ryan and the Rockets is not a very hardcore name.
No.
Were you motivated to make everything about you all of a sudden?
I think the is it? That's all right.
I'm just joking. Keep going.
I think we just didn't care too much for performing. We were just about, as some bands they become more about the hangs and just the jamming than the performance.
Absolutely.
So it just became the name.
That's cool.
And then we were like, let's be serious and have a serious name. So we got a Bon Jovi name, Bad Medicine. And then we did release a CD with that band.
Yeah.
And then I went overseas, and I think David took over for vocals.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I went on OE with my wife, and then we were away for a year. So
sure.
Yeah, we ended up living in Santiago in Chile for 6 months. And there was at that point that David took over vocals, but they obviously changed the name of the band, and there were member changes. Like there was Rico came in on the bass towards the end. There was a guy Sanj playing guitar, and then but yeah, I think Luke's guitar style was certainly different to the newer break-in songs.
Yeah, definitely. The break-in hadn't practiced in 7 years when we played Dallas's birthday the other day.
Yeah.
And so Jason and Clayton, friends from way back, thick as thieves, they're brothers. And that if they were starting a band now or writing stuff for a band, it would be more along the lines of One Must Fall. So I think you'll find the new and Ben's always wanted to do more like One Must Fall style. It's Luke's influence on the break-in songs that give it maybe that flavour.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Of what it is, and we're still playing songs that Luke wrote.
Yeah.
So Ben is in the end the common thread from
21
right
Guns
to the break-in.
Yeah.
So the Klinkenberg family, I want to do a podcast with him and actually go around his around K drums and just get a bit of, because he's got a story to tell, and he's obviously very talented with the drums that he makes and stuff.
Yeah, he's very skilled craftsman.
Who the hell are the Klinkenbergs over here? So who's Dan Klinkenberg and who's Josh Klinkenberg? Or are those Ben's? Are those names for Ben?
Ben did drums and bass. No, so Dan's the oldest brother.
Okay.
Josh is the middle brother, and Ben's actually the youngest. I think Dan had been in some like new metal bands in high school, but he was really pulled in as like someone who could play bass, who was Josh's brother. Josh and Dave Baxter were they were best friends in high school, and they wanted to do a hardcore band. I don't know what they'd seen. They'd seen a hardcore band somewhere and decided they wanted to do it. They asked Ryan because they knew he went to shows, and Ryan was like, "I'm already in this band, Bare Knuckle Brawl. That's like it's going places. So
massive.
You can have my kid brother."
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up in it. So yeah, that's Dan and Josh, and then Ben was probably in a slightly similar sort of situation to me. He was a kid brother that was tagging along to stuff, and back then Josh was definitely the better drummer, and Ben just tagged along, wanted to do stuff. I can remember Josh being like, Ben's not ready to do a band when he joined 21 Guns, but I think like the fact that he drummed for like 660 now sort of suggests that he might know his way around a drum kit, you know.
What?
Not that 660's, you know, the most technical music out there, but you know they're entrusting quite a significant enterprise to Ben holding a decent rhythm.
Well, you've got that history with him, right? So you can make like little stabs in the dark at him with the history that goes back to that. That's one thing I thought was interesting when I pulled this up and I was listening to this right before, and then I saw those two Klinkenberg names up there, and I'd never met them. I know who Dave Baxter is, obviously, but that's interesting. So because I'm interviewing two brothers right now, so there you go. You've got three Klinkenberg brothers, all part of hardcore as well.
I wouldn't want to like venture into the family dynamic too much, but
you're gonna.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Well, they had periods of living in different cities and stuff. There's a bit of an age gap between Dan and Josh. They're probably not quite as tight. There was probably a period there where maybe Josh and Ben, me and Ryan all hung out together, and so they were like close as mates. Yeah, I don't know though. Dan and Josh are really close these days, right? Because they've all got kids. They all hang out together.
They're just geographically, and they're all over in Tauranga now. Yeah, but there was a period like it's all a bit.
It's got quite different interests, I think, outside of whatever they happen to be doing.
So their parents were the pastors of the church that we kind of were involved with. So that's how we kind of got to know them. Dan started a building firm that I worked for, and Ben was working for too. So I was actually building with Ben for Dan's company. So there's a few other connections there. But I think because they're both over in the Bay now, Dan and Josh spend it. And I think the parents too are over there. And then Ben's living here in Auckland, so he probably doesn't see them as much.
Yeah.
Who is stronger than Hate?
We were just trying to work that out before. I think that might be a Australian band.
Yeah, I think they're an Australian hardcore band that came over and possibly played Smackdown.
But you're thinking of Stronghold.
No, but there was two Australian hardcore bands around that era.
I reckon that was just a flash in the pan band out of like Cuddy Cuddy or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Caddy Caddy.
Yeah.
See, it's where my nana's from. My dad was born.
Well, actually, there's a fantastic Brick versus Face line that I've made a joke online before, but it just didn't hit the mark with anyone. But shout out to Cuddy Cuddy for ripping in the pit because they know my granny. So,
yeah.
Because Isaac, the singer from Brick vs. Face, his granny comes from there too. So
yeah.
So the Appreciate guys would always rip in the pit for Brick vs. Face.
So your granny's there too.
Yeah.
How good?
100%.
You could throw in a line about you could rhyme granny and Kati Kati in the next Exile song.
Yeah, man. Watch the space.
Isaac was always good for a little bit of Dr. Seuss hardcore.
Was he?
Yeah, bit of a lyricist himself. Yeah.
And another funny name in there, Misadventures in Self-Surgery.
Yes, that was I feel like Jamie and Michael were in that.
Jamie was definitely in that one. Michael might have been as well. His name
was Ben, the singer.
Ben from Ulcerate. Ben from 8 Foot Sativa, Ulcerate. What was Kill Me Quickly?
Yeah,
Kill Me Quickly. Ben
Vegan, right?
Yeah. Ben Vegan. He was the singer in Misadventures in Self Surgery. And who's the guy that's a tattooist now?
Dean Sacred? No,
I don't know.
Simon Earl.
Oh, was Simon?
Yeah. Simon Earl was in Misadventures of Self Surgery.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Those were, when mentioning Simon, and also at the same time he was mates with Matt Wadsworth, and they were both guys that were just a bit older than us and really kind of looked after us when we came up and stayed in Auckland, or and just supported our earlier terrible bands,
and not to bring it back to the Christian thing again, like, because we're probably not on here to talk about Christian hardcore, because neither of us are involved in Christian hardcore these days, really. But that, if you talk to Simon and Wadzi about their views on Christianity, I doubt they'd be particularly favourable.
No.
But they put up with
Not
these
from what I could expect. Yeah.
yeah.
He put up with these youth group kids, in and around, and because we were interested in their music, right? Like, we weren't interested in a church version of their music.
Yeah.
We wanted, like,
You guys weren't Mormons. You weren't peddling around shows and handing out Bibles as like flyers as though people were leaving the show or whatever. It wasn't like that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there was still an element of me though that was still holding on to keeping things hot. Like, I know Wadzu was really into Shockwave, and I liked that Shockwave was still connected to the Christian scene, even though it wasn't a Christian band, So sometimes I hold on to those little elements of like, I'm real hardcore, but I've still got some wholesome.
Did you think that Matt was going to convert through the evangelizing of Shockwave? Like, he was going to hear Shockwave and be like, you know what, these Christians aren't so bad. I think I'm going to try it out.
Not at all. But it's just that step out. Our father,
who art in heaven. He literally,
he burnt all his mainstream records.
I wanted to tell that story.
He burnt all his music because the devil speaks through it. So
like growing up, like, your dad's music is like your introduction to music, right?
Yeah.
So, and we mentioned earlier, like, we didn't have The Simpsons, we didn't have anything other than Life FM, we didn't have any secular, non-Christian music, normal music. We just had Christian music, and our dad had you talk to his family members. He had a really extensive record collection. He was into like surfer rock, classic rock. He
had a wealth of musical knowledge.
Hippie rock, 70s.
Yeah.
He burnt it all when he became a Christian. Like,
are you talking like I'm getting images of like
a bonfire, like
when the Nazis were burning all the books, and you've got those photos and stuff.
Yeah, because it's demonic. Like, it's demon music.
That's
crazy. And so he didn't pass on to us, and this is not like, but we didn't have that. We didn't have that background in music that
I think he'd matured. Enough to the point when we started to catch up on all that music, he was like, he was informative and kind of filled us in with stuff.
Still knew it all, but like, as a kid, like, as like you want to be like a 5-year-old, or even like before you can speak, you're having this rock or whatever playing in the background. You're like, this tune is jamming.
I had like ZZ Top and the Beach Boys and Shania Twain. Shania Twain probably just because she was hot, but
we had DC Talk and BB and CC Winans.
we heard of those guys.
We had
Who's that?
we just had like, even I remember the rap stuff we listened to. It was like Christian rappers like rapping about Jesus. It was like, oh gosh, so it was so awesome for us, like, because we just thought that was the best rap you could get, but it was.
But because it's edgy,
but
it's not offensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Horrendous. Anyway, so we
got on that topic again, but that's just basically saying, like, Matt, Wadzi, and I think there's an element when you talk about those divided scenes. Like, personally, I think that's a terrible thing anyway. But you could be mistaken if you read the Evil Priest liner notes and saw some song that Wadzi had written, and then looked at Simon Earle's artwork, that they'd stab you in the throat if you mentioned you went to church. But it's never like that.
It sounds like those guys, from that viewpoint, that they were really on the other side of the fence against the wall.
It just never was a problem. Like I say, like, well, these bands all did shows together, and they were up on stage singing whatever about Christianity, and you knew it was anti it, but and we were up there singing like whatever we were singing, and
I remember watching Saving Grace and be like, the faith, family forever, and I was just like, well, if everyone's going to pile on and start singing this, like, I am too, and I'm here to but I do remember, I've said this before on the podcast, I do remember we're like Vasily coming up to the microphone and or Nick and having a couple minutes of complete silence and talking about Jesus and stuff, and I just remember I was just thinking, get on with the fucking music. Like I'm here to mosh.
It's polarizing.
The beer's wearing off. I'm here to get busy.
I think as well. Like thinking of that time, like One Must Fall. We did that national tour with Life FM, but we were really on the cusp. I think of like nobody was doing Australian tours. Like listening to like Jason's podcast the other day about he did one Australian tour and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big deal for a band to do that back then.
Yeah.
And then to have like Saving Grace do like world tours and Antagonist do world tours, Exile do. So I think if that was a done thing back then, I think One Must Fall probably would have. Not because we were the best metalcore band in the country, but because we were a Christian metalcore band. And it goes back to that funding you're saying about churches and stuff like that. Like we would have totally gotten on some sort of Christian tour thing overseas, or gotten on a record label.
It's a real thing. But like, it's a real thing when it comes to government funding that there are hacks, and one of the hacks is a Christian hack. And if you've got a Christian backing and you can get someone to sign off on that thing, that's massive, because you want to get to Joe Rogan on this podcast, but the people go up in a pyramid, don't they? It starts down there, and then that person's got a friend who's got a friend who's got a friend.
Have you watched the South Park episode where he makes a Christian rock band? Cartman makes a Christian. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So Cartman decides to. I know this is down another tangent, but he decides to make a Christian rock band, and he changes all the love songs. Instead of saying "baby," they say "Jesus."
Okay.
Because he's in a competition with his mates who's going to sell the most records. Anyway, it's a great episode if you find it.
Yeah.
But instead of going platinum, he gets given a myrrh record, because they go gold, frankincense, and myrrh, not to platinum. And he loses his mind, and they suddenly realise he's not a Christian. But it just is a total piss take of the Christian music scene and the funding, the money.
Yeah. Mental. I'm all for it. I mean, it's a story, right? Like it's like when you look back on it and you're older, and you can have this like humility of the conversation that's not confrontational. You can explore all the areas of it, so it's good. All right, well, taking it back to, was One Must Fall your first hardcore band?
Yeah, it was called Fallout to start off with.
True.
But there was another band called Fallout, surprisingly. And then One Must Fall was a game that I played a lot as a kid, like a robot fighting
with robots.
Game.
Okay, so that popped up on the when I was asking the Summer of Hardcore chat about if these guys had any questions for you, and then someone put a screenshot of this robot game and they said, ask them if it's from this game.
And it was one of those what do they call it? Like they call it a backronism, when you've already got a name. Like LG, they created an explanation that LG stands for Life's Good, but it doesn't. Like One Must Fall was a computer game where robots fought each other.
Yeah.
And then I created this backstory of a song called One Must Fall, which was all about like pride comes before a fall, type thing. So like you've got to let yourself be humble. You've got to fall first, and then So there's a whole like.
I love the name. The name is sick.
But really, it's just robots fighting.
Yeah. Was it like an arcade game? Was it something that was
It was a PC game, was it?
Yeah, it was basically like a Tekken, or I don't know. I didn't actually play that many video games. I think it was a free demo that came on my parents' computer. But Mortal Kombat, that sort of thing. You plug in some moves on the keyboard, and it does kicks and spins, and
it was same look
like,
as Street
literally
Fighter,
same,
like Street Fighter style.
Literally the same layout, except you're in a robot, so maybe it's not as violent. I don't know. Yeah.
It's funny. The story's like no one would have known that, right? Like I thought it was just an awesome name that you'd come up with, and One Must Fall, just like how you explained it. Like someone's got to take be sacrificed. Another funny one I heard was that really new band, the kids synthesis. I can't even say
synthesis of self.
I can't say the word, bro, of self. But before they were called Stacked, and I was like, man, that's an awesome name. And they're like, nah, we hate it. It's the name is you got Pringles. Apparently there's a budget brand of Pringles called Stacked. They're like, nah, we hate it. It's based on a budget brand of Pringles. And I was like, I never knew that.
You've just got to come up, like I say, you just got to come up with you've got to reverse engineer an explanation for the name.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't have gone out there and been like our singer loved playing a robot fighting game, an obscure robot fighting game from the early 2000s.
And no one else knew it was from that?
It was a reasonably big game. Like I say, if you Google One Must Fall, it's going to come up with robots.
Robot fighting and stuff was quite big back in that era.
I think I wanted to make and stuff. I think I wanted to make an album cover with my favorite. I think it was called Thorn. There was a robot. He had big thorns on his elbows. He's pretty cool.
You know, the person I think who asked the question was Dams from Brawler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's going to be stoked that was the correct answer to that question.
The reference is there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. No, One Must Fall. Sick game. To the point that I actually tried to find like a version I could play on my phone or something. But yeah, the vibe
There was
wasn't
only
there
Snake
anymore.
on your phone at that time, wasn't there?
No, now. I mean, I tried to get a phone now. Like, there wasn't phones back then. You couldn't.
There wasn't even phones.
I think we did have the Nokias were in by then, and it was that was also interesting. The era of the DIY hand drawn posters, pasting up posters, moving into MySpace, which was only
if we'd had AI back then, it would have just saved so much time.
Yes,
Fuck DIY.
just promoting shows.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure, and just that how you're listening to music and has moved right away from CDs.
Such an amazing. I remember like now, right? You're like DIY. I did my own T-shirt design and I sent it away to a printer. Like we were like DIY. We're gonna figure out. We're gonna make our own silk screens. We're gonna cut out templates out of like baking paper and stick them to a silk screen. And then go and get some like really thick silk screen ink and try and screen print our own T-shirts.
Yeah, we had those gluggy print shirts.
Like massive gluggy print T-shirts.
Do you remember like the iron-on prints too? You could get like you could go vinyl. I don't know what material it was, but you could iron it on as well.
Yeah, we didn't do the iron-on stuff. We were definitely trying to press it through a screen. But
a bit of embroidery. I remember getting basketball jerseys made up because the mall-based embroidery places popped up. So they can still do that now.
Yeah,
though.
I got hats and stuff done there.
Yeah.
The first run of Exile hats I got done from a mall embroider.
Yeah.
There was a show poster that springs to mind. We did a hand drawn one, and the price of the show was $4. Like it's like a ludicrous entry.
Was it that 21 Guns one, and it had
it's got a Raphael on it.
Raphael. Yeah. So I was actually going to mention that one. So that's a. Like, you traced it off a picture or something, didn't you? Like, but it's still, like, what an awesome hand-drawn poster of, like, Raphael.
Just did it on the dining table at home.
Pizza slices and...
We used to draw our own posters, draw our own posters, like pencil, and then and then I remember I had to, because you didn't have Photoshop, right? So I'd print off the band's logos, then cut them out, then put them behind a backlit thing, like up against the window, and trace the thing, and then when I had my finished poster, then I'd scan that again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Photocopy it.
Yeah.
Just even things
and then darken it too, because like it was pencil, right? So it wasn't black, and I didn't want to draw it in pen just in case I made a mistake. So I just do it as good as I could in pencil.
Yes.
Then go to the photocopy and put the contrast to 10, so it would turn my pencil grey lines into black lines.
Yeah.
Good. I didn't have that hack.
I think photocopying machines. That's DIY. If you're involving a photocopier.
Wow.
I even like that Hamtown Smackdown backdrop. It's in behind all the Hamtown Smackdown. I can remember that just being a roll of black fabric from Spotlight or something, or whatever it was at that time, rolled out on our driveway. I don't know how you stenciled it out.
I think we just measured it out. Josh and I painted that. Yeah.
Is it still the same one, is it?
Same banner, yeah.
Just house paint on a bit of black paper, black fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
There's a lot you can do. Like I think you can paralyze yourself with like this is the way it's supposed to be done, or you can just have a crack. And I probably lost that mentality in life, to be honest, where I'm like, it's going to take me a lot of time to figure out how to do this. I'll just call a professional and do it. Like every aspect of life. Whereas I think Ryan still has that, and maybe it's our dad's influence, but still has the mentality of like, what would I call an electrician?
Just work it out.
Are you so lazy that you got like a bidet at home? Are you sick of wiping your own ass? Or you got a bidet?
A bidet? Are you talking about my bidet at my house?
No, you've got one.
Yeah, do you know I've got a bidet?
I thought it was hitting too close to home, bro.
Yeah, I thought you had.
So you're sick of wiping your own ass.
I've got a bum gun.
Sorry,
Southeast sharing.
Southeast Asian style. No, bro.
I've got a bum gun.
When you come back from Japan, I remember when I come back from Japan and I was sitting on the toilet and I was just like, who's going to do this? Like, what the,
Yeah.
Why the fuck would I bother wiping my ass?
Yeah. Toilet paper, that's horrendous.
Yeah.
Silly idea.
Bro, Japan is in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we going? Where were we going with that?
I thought you had some inside knowledge there.
Nah. But thanks for sharing, dude.
Yeah, I've got an old bidet in my house. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I got a question about 1 Must Fall. So your introduction into vocals, some vocals that you haven't done since. This is really extreme vocals. What was well, I think it's great, but it was never you never did it again in a band, really, the Cookie Monster style. What was happening there, and who was the influence?
So the Cookie Monster style. So you're not talking about the 1 Must Fall style of vocals. You're talking about the Roll with the Punches style.
Oh, let's start with the 1 Must Fall style. So that's
you
already.
it's interesting. So you
already
reckon
a
I haven't gone back to the 1 Must Fall scream. And yeah, I mean, I think you'll find maybe the new Breakin' Will. I definitely did screaming in or that style of screaming in my emo band at high school, which ran contemporaneously. I did a really short-lived band called Defense of the Ancients, also named after a video game.
Cool.
Not a game that I played, a game that the other guys in the band played. And they were obsessed with it. And that was a cool band. I dressed up as, I wore a Darth Vader mask, like voice changer mask, so I had like voice effects and stuff in between songs, and I didn't say anything. It was like a Slipknot type situation.
Yeah.
Even who's that guy in the Darth Vader mask? But yeah, that was 1 Must Fall style vocals. But yeah, with Roll with the Punches. So growing up, I was definitely, like I mentioned earlier, I would have been like an Under Oath, Norma Jean, emo, screamo kid.
Yeah.
If I could, and I was. But my brother and Dylan, Ryan and Dylan, they were like, don't you be a sissy emo. I don't know what they were. We're hardcore kids, and so I dabbled in it. But yeah, so that probably reflects what my musical choice was at that time. And then I think a guy, Nick Cullen, who was also in Regime, Rex was in Roll with the Punches, and Kane. They wanted to do a band, and it was definitely more on the punky style of things. So coming from like 1 Must Fall, Defense of the Ancients, and Emily Shot the Sun.
Yeah.
The emo band, if you didn't guess.
No, I've got it on the list over here.
Yeah, they coming from that, going into this, like, this is a more punky style hardcore band, I was like, well, I have to do like more of a yell than a scream.
Yeah.
And the Cookie Monsters, what came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll roll with this. I think now I've probably found like a happy medium between sounding like Cookie Monster and the scream. Yeah. And that's probably like the break-in. I think that's my jam.
I have a theory. I have a theory that, like, if that's how you started doing this, then you've got like real control over like your vocal range. Like if you started and you wanted to do like the fry scream or the false chord scream, like, let's say like the more screamo thing. Yep. You try to learn how to do it, and you're more in tune with like what your vocal cords are doing, and then it must be easier to do hardcore after. But if you learn the hardcore one first, and you're just like you're just shouting, and a lot of it's from like it's just coming from wherever it comes from, and whatever comes out comes out.
Yeah.
If you try and learn properly how to do it after you've taught yourself those wrong techniques, it's very difficult, and that's just from personal experience, because you just spend ages. The hardcore yell is just a yell. It's just like an extension of you yelling at your parents down the hallway or in your room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this screaming is like it's a technique. Because you've got the highs and you've got the lows.
I was having a yarn to Jamie from Ulcerate. So his brother's a good mate of mine, and it was at his brother's wedding a few weeks back. Actually having a conversation about heaps of stuff. And I know you mentioned on Jason's interview that it would be cool to interview those guys. You totally should. They've got some cool stories to tell about touring and stuff, I bet. Not that I've heard any that many of them, but
I'm trying to cop them. They're going to India real soon.
Yeah,
so I'd love to get them after India.
Yeah. But Jamie was saying how and I think I might have even mentioned you to him and talking about how, like, you obviously take your vocals really seriously. You care about what mic you use. You care about your levels in terms of your own. I'm like, as long as I can hear the drums and I'm in time, I'll yell, and I'll just keep yelling. And if I can't hear myself, I'll just keep yelling. And that's a problem, right? That feedback thing of, if you don't hear yourself in your own mix, you'll yell louder and you'll just wear yourself out. Whereas there's a way with this style, like this 1 Must Fall style, it's actually not that taxing on your vocals.
Yeah.
and the key
volume level is much reduced. Yeah,
the key is having the feedback through your own mix of being able to hear yourself, and you're actually just creating the noise and you're letting the microphone do the work.
Yeah.
Whereas, you're right, like the hardcore style, and maybe that's awesome, right? You're just yelling until it's like a guitar turned up to 11, right? You're just yelling until your voice in the microphone distorts, and it's just noise.
Yeah.
But there's definitely an art to that more metal scream, which doesn't have to tax your voice as much. So he was saying, I don't know what the vocalist from Ulcerate's name is, but he was just sharing things he'd learned vicariously through the vocalist about
like what
warming up and not like if your range in terms of effort, just your effort range is 0 to 100, like you don't sing at 100.
Yeah.
If you're a touring heavy band and you try and sing at 100 every night, yell at 100 every night, you're not going to last the tour, right?
Yeah.
And so a big part of that, I think, is what you've told me before, is having yourself in the mix. Because I've had that experience of playing a show where I'm in the mix really loud, and I'm like, man, I sounded massive tonight. I'm like, you probably sound like that every night. You
couldn't hear yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's where a lot of like the meticulous things that I've really tried to get ahead on is because if you can go 0 to 100 in a New Zealand hardcore band because you're only playing one show.
Yeah.
It's not until you have got back-to-back shows that you need to think about it, because even if you go 0 to 100, like you guys must have played 2 shows in a row, right?
Yep.
That's when you know about it, right? You're like,
even just
that's
recording.
when you first find out. Or recording.
Yeah, recording. You're like,
brutal.
How
right?
do you sound at the start of the recording? How do you sound at the end of the recording? Now you got to re-record the whole album again.
Yeah.
You got to re-record the songs that you recorded first because your voice has changed completely from when you started.
And you're walking around the studio with a cup of lemon tea, eh? Like, yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Well, you just do it in one take, like Robot Man over here. No, just finish. Yeah.
I don't have any knowledge to impart on the touring longevity thing, because I was never in any bands that played closer than probably a month apart. Like this. And I do have a lot of admiration for people that can, because I know what it's like in this these cities in this country that have a tiny population. We don't have the collective population that have an interest in these obscure genres of music. So it's massive, the likes of yourself and, people like Sam with Antagonist and Vasily with Saving Grace that stepped it up, took the band overseas and did stuff like that. That's a massive financial investment, and also just giving up a massive amount of time. And it's a huge gamble because you're not sure what's going to be at the other end. But I think
often there's debt.
Yes, lots of debt. But in terms of appreciation, there's just larger numbers overseas that appreciate these particular styles of subgenres of hardcore.
You have, and the thing is you have to like see it to believe it as well. Like, I talk about it on the few of the podcasts, but once you see all these different scenes and how these people are different, like how the guys in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur run up a wall and do a backflip and they'll go absolutely apeshit, or what I was talking about, the guys in China where you've got those insane musicians that were classically trained, and but also they're kind of like in a square, so like they're an amazing band, but some of them might not have the X factor because they're just, it's like the YouTube musicians, how people are like so good, but then they don't have that creative side, but they're
specialists.
They're specialists, and then and you've America, and then Euros will just tell you to your face that like, oh, your band was okay. Like, have you ever heard that? When someone asks you how you doing, have you ever said like, oh, bad?
Yeah,
like, I'm
shit. Just very honest.
So someone's like, yeah, your band was okay. Like,
that's a cool,
thanks, dude.
Really cool thing though about punk and hardcore is you can go to all these different places and find people that are into exactly the same kind of energy that you're into, and we've had a little bit of that come back this way with just kind of, I'm thinking of a friend that came from Sweden and talking about his experience of that kind of Scandinavian hardcore, which is there's lots of it's emulating American hardcore and stuff from Victor and and lots of it's influenced by the British style too, but lots of it's got its own flavour. I'm sure in Southeast Asia they're doing a lot of the American style hardcore, but they've got their own way of kind of expressing it.
Yeah.
I think in New Zealand there's a little bit of that too.
I think that the downside to that scale though, like on the upside is you'll get enough people to actually pay to go to your show where it's worth touring. You can sell t-shirts. You can do that stuff globally now, like just being based where you are. There's a downside in that you get that stratification of different styles. Like if I think back to those like halcyon years of Youth Zone, Backroom, Non-Toxic, the idea that you would go to a show and see, and I bet this would have been a lineup at some point, Promise of Bloodshed, Hold Fast, Kill Me Quickly, Hold Fast, Cold by Winter, and Granny Patch. Now I don't know. That's a pretty out of it lineup, but like you've got like the most violent metalcore band ever. You've got a Christian pop punk band. You've got a post-hardcore band from Hamilton, and then you've got like 6 high school girls playing ska music. Like you could have that's a conceivable lineup for a show. Probably never actually happened.
Yeah.
And everyone would mix and mingle and appreciate each other's music. The idea that I've got friends now, even just like Melbourne, I've got friends that live in Melbourne who play in bands, and the two bands have never played together.
Yeah.
Because like this band's a metalcore band, this band's like a heavy hardcore band, and
Well, particularly in Melbourne, you need to see it to believe it. But I remember turning up to Melbourne and being like, "Oh, there's another show on tonight."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, we can't have 2 shows on the same night.
Yeah, I thought we were playing hardcore.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
We had the hardcore bill tonight.
Yeah. No, I mean you're not playing hardcore. Because in Melbourne there's traditional hardcore, and then there's metalcore, and then there's you've just got that big population. So there is an advantage of New Zealand that everyone knows each other, and well, it's like beggars can't be choosers, isn't it? So like you either get on with it, or if you're not happy, there's nowhere else for you to go.
You meet someone who listens to something like it's probably not like this anymore, because every man and his dog's heard of I don't know, like Under Oath or but it used to be back in the day. Someone would say like they might be a complete bogan like metal, but I know Hatebreed, and I can be like, yeah, well, my band opened for Hatebreed. Oh, that's awesome, yeah. But I'm not a bogan, but but I wouldn't have been like that. I wouldn't have been like, oh, but you're a metal kid and I'm a hardcore kid. It would be like, whoa, we both listen to Hatebreed. That's
Alternative would be more of the more of the word. All right. Well, one thing we haven't touched on is as much as there was Christian lyrics in there was also a lot of straight edge lyrics.
Nice.
What was the big? Well, you showed me the photo. I can put it up. Of Dylan was X'd up in bare knuckle brawl.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think Dylan's still straight edge. What?
I'm just having the dangerous week of my.
We just did a couple of dangerous weeks.
Hey, it's a Summit, so I don't know.
Is it a Summit Light?
Summit Ultra. It's low carb, but it's full alcohol.
Oh, I'm a big fan of low carb beers. That's all I drink.
Anyway, just a plug for alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Can we pause for a bit and I go pay more for parking in the car?
Yeah.
Can you leave it in?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's have a pause. Let's have some more salsa and finish off these chips. Sounds good to me.
Come back to straight edge.
All right, back into straight edge. So I've just got a comment over here, and it was from Gareth Steiner. He says, back when they all had songs about selling out of straight edge, I thought it was all about me. What did he do?
Oh.
He sold out of straight edge. I mean, there was a big thing back in the day when someone was straight edge and when they weren't straight edge. I think Josh Moffat was straight edge at one stage. He's sold out with...
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just... It wasn't a big deal, and I still to this day maintain like the idea of selling out wasn't exclusive to straight edge, and so I there was a One Must Fall song that was about that had a sort of a drug free straight edge vibe to it, and that's the one that went poison free, life I live, air I breathe. That's the song that I struggled to sing when after I was drinking and partying and stuff towards the end of One Must Fall.
But the crowd wanted the song.
Yeah, I think I got Ryan up to sing it a couple of times because he was still poison free. But the line, does it hurt when they call you a seller? Does it burn when they call you a seller? That's from the One Must Fall song. So it's about someone getting too big for their boots, basically.
Yeah.
It's about exile. Like
It's more of a generalized term.
Yeah. Being a sellout definitely isn't exclusive to straight edge. Yeah.
It's about selling out on your values. So I didn't have a personal vendetta against
Gareth.
Against Gareth.
Everyone gave it a go though. My friend Tommy C, he went straight edge for 2 weeks. He got a straight edge tattoo on his lip, XXX under there. Yeah. And we always used to joke, is that tattoo still there? He's like, no, I brushed my teeth one day and I saw them like X's swirling around the bowl and down there. But he's still got it to this day. He was straight edge for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And got a tattoo. But
it had a heavy influence on the local music scene though. There was definitely a lot of people that were straight edge. And I guess it influenced that kind of good, clean, fun element. But there was also a little bit of, righteousness sometimes, which I reflect on as definitely looking down on people that drink, which is not a good way.
I have always felt that superiority factor from straight edge people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of tension.
You have felt it? You haven't?
No, I have.
Yeah.
100%. Not from everyone. Got a lot of good straight edge friends like Ben and Boozy and stuff. But like from other people, definitely look down the nose at you. Definitely back in the day. Because I was mad into the drinking culture. Going to like D&B gigs, BMX drinking at the skate park, turn up to shows.
Yes.
Pre-drunk. Not that I'm saying it was awesome. But I was at direct opposites and there was definitely... as you walk past, there was the straight edges looking down their nose at you.
I think we were naive kids in a lot of ways. I know it gave us an identity, and I think sometimes when you're that age, if you have an identity, you go full noise into it. So I can remember late night missions where we'd. I'm not incriminating myself. But I remember late night missions where we would cut out letters. So this is, to be fair, it's pretty harmless fun because it's stuck up with
poster paste.
So we'd cut out lettering out of like A4 bits of computer paper. Was saying like slogans, and we'd go and paste it on the bottom of like a liquor billboard or like a sign for like a bar or something. So it might be a TUI ad or something, like a year right TUI ad, and then we'd just put along the bottom like bruises for boozers or like
total fucking defiance, eh?
Yeah. Just we're like, whoa, this is hardcore as, and I'm like, maybe some people just like to have a beer from now.
It straight edge definitely had that element that was counterproductive to like straight edge should be about promoting a positive lifestyle. You should be condoning violence and being superior to someone else's life choices. Like,
alcohol's ruined your life. I'm going to ruin it further.
Yes, and just be really miserable about it. Yeah.
I mean, it definitely had an unproductive sort of adversarial element to it. I remember that One Must Fall show in Wellington, where I got picked up after high school on a Friday afternoon, and we drove down to Wellington. So from like 3:00, drove straight down to Wellington, got to Thistle Hall, played a show. And I think because we'd gotten out of the car and we were like, Wellington doesn't really have a straight edge scene, or not a big one. So we got out of the car, and the first thing we did was like big X's on our fists, and went up there and sat in the corner. And Thistle Hall was, a pretty notorious venue, and I think a lot of the kids would have been, drunk or whatever, enjoying themselves. And we started playing. And a few of the Hamilton crew that came with us started dancing like Hamilton style, and it just turned into a brawl. Just like I was trying to sing, just following a brawl around Thistle Hall. Yeah, there might have been 30 people, and like 15 of them were brawling.
Part of that was the straight edge is part of the problem. I think the other thing too is just the kickbox dancing, which is
it was a real clash of cultures. But I think what I'm getting at is that. We were pre-primed with the straight edge thing, like we're going into like hostile territory, and then people on the other side were picking up on that energy as well, or maybe had that energy and we were reacting to it. I don't know who started it, there was this kind of thing of like, oh, these Hamilton guys, they're straight edge and they're militant straight edge, and if they come down here and try and tell us what to do, we're gonna scrap them. So
it was always a tit for tat, eh? It was it was if someone tries to tell me what to do.
I don't want to drink, like, but whatever. Like, but back then maybe I would have said, don't drink, don't drink and listen to my band. For all of 6 months, and then I started drinking. So,
I think it comes back to what you're saying about being like young and like just being engulfed in like whatever, because it was such a big thing, and maybe it was massive for the traditional hardcore culture, and people had all those DVDs and stuff, and like it was, if you wanted to be true and you wanted to be New York or whatever, you've got to be. You got to be straight edge.
I'm grateful, probably more so than there's elements of having kids now. There's elements of church culture where I'm like that was really good for a kid growing up in that. None of the negative stuff that you hear in the news, and certainly not trying to brainwash them to think a particular way about things, but just a community, And so I sometimes feel like I want to give that to my kids. Straight edge. Same sort of thing. Maybe straight edge had its negative aspects, but it definitely taught me from 16 to 18 that you can be a sober kid at a party, and you can still have fun and still talk to people.
That was one of my biggest gripes, is that I clearly it was my problem with people trying to tell me that I actually didn't have self-restraint.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't achievable unless it was 100%.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, brother, I can not drink real fucking easy. Yeah. Like, watch me, and I commonly do. Yeah. And and that just reignited in my brain plenty of times to go to a party and not drink at all, and it wasn't because of any reason. It's because I didn't want to, and it didn't have. Yeah, maybe people do have problems with self-restraint, but I never did. So I always found that really conflicting. That someone was saying saying that you couldn't do something, and two was saying that you also weren't capable of doing something.
Yeah, right. Just because I exclusively don't drink, that means that you don't.
A lunatic.
Because you sometimes drink that you don't know how to have a good time without it. Yeah, totally.
Interesting. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of things that transform, and I think it's a good space, the punk and hardcore scene, for that dialogue around any sort of reflecting on thoughts, and it would be interesting to see people from even before our time, like what sort of work they've gotten into after that influence. I know there's lots of people in different professions, and just what paths people take from that early influence of, I guess, hardcore teaches you to reflect, it teaches you to be passionate about things, and also teaches you that kind of get stuck in and do something aspect. So
it's an interesting train of thought, right? Because when you're young, everyone's in the same boat, right? You're all on your first job. You're probably just doing your first job because you have to.
Yes.
Get a paper round. You're working at McDonald's. Maybe you're starting an apprenticeship.
Just
or
trying
whatever.
To get by.
It's not until you're older or this age where you're a lawyer. I'm a bricklayer. With being a coffee roaster and a PT, and like people. I mean, what is a hardcore job? What do you have to?
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about this a bit. Like, what is a hardcore job, or like what are hardcore values? And I can honestly,
as an adult,
I don't know. Like, I could say it was a DIY ethic, but the thing is that I think it's undeniable to say that some of there's some really big hardcore bands, and they're not DIYing it anymore. And I don't think you're a sellout because you. This isn't a personal attack. This is actually coming out of a conversation again I had with Jamie from Ulcerate. But I don't think you're a sellout because you play to like an Ableton or whatever. Or because you bring a rig along, or because your bass drops are like pre-recorded, or like
as opposed to having a bass drop on a live bass drop on stage.
Yeah, well,
like an extra band member.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out Tim. He's actually on the bass drops tonight.
And then you'll be like, well, hardcore values are all about, like, they're all left wing, and I'm like, actually, there's a and I don't agree with it, but there's certainly some bands out there with some views around some certain particular political issues now, which maybe don't sit on the left wing. So is hardcore just about having an opinion? Well, then there's some bands that just talk shit and just party. Like,
bro, it's there's that's a real good point. There's always something that I struggle with is actually being an outcast in an outcast scene.
Yeah.
So like being told that you're actually an outcast amongst a bunch of fucking outcasts.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, sorry, bruv.
Yeah. But this is the danger.
No one gave me the handbook.
This is the danger of the left side, which I would put my feet in. But the danger is you can become. What's the word? You can almost, like the fascists traditionally were the right wing, right? But sometimes the left wing can become so narrow with its thinking, it can become fascist in its own thinking, and you get that kind of
fascism has a definition.
Do you know the exact definition? I don't.
I've got an Oxford dictionary if you want to scroll through.
I don't think you have left wing.
But when I talk of fascism, I just can think of like narrow. This is the way you have to be.
Yeah.
And I think to a lesser extent, I think we saw a little bit of the experience coming away from us running shows. Where I was definitely seen as this kind of like jock, misogynistic asshole. Like, I don't know, this kind of judgment I felt. Okay. We need to be more inclusive, but sometimes if your design of it has to look a certain way, you just kind of end up being exclusive by being inclusive. I don't know what I'm.
I just think it's awesome that. To take one political issue, which was like hyper politicized, was like the response to COVID, right? And you can have, you can be like the hardcore response is that as a community, we should all be masked at our shows. If we talk about inclusivity and respect for our for inclusivity specifically for disabled and immunocompromised people, we should be all wearing masks at shows. You shouldn't be the odd one out because you're wearing a mask there, kind of thing, through COVID. And then on the flip side, you can have some quite big bands. I'm not going to call them out because I don't actually know for sure what their views are. There's quite big bands that I would have thought maybe sat on a different area of the political spectrum, being like, this COVID response is the government trying to control you. And I'm like, that actually totally makes sense in a hardcore narrative that you would be anti-government.
Absolutely. Well, I was listening to Regime, the first song on that Regime EP, the chorus is fuck the government. Fuck the government. Yeah.
So it's like, how do you reconcile the fact, and this is that cognitive dissonance you talk about, how do you reconcile the fact that government and the system's rigged, and we should fight against it, we should rage against the system, we should be countercultural, but sometimes the advice coming from the government is what's best for society, and we should listen to it and follow along with it. Like how do you reconcile that? And I think it takes a pretty mature response to be like, yeah, fuck the government, but also in this particular instance, do what the government tells you to. Without questioning it too much, because if you scratch the surface too much, it all falls apart, because this is all about a collective response to something, public health. It relies on us all being unified and taking a collective response. So follow the crowd in this instance and have a herd mentality, but still question things. And so I think it does take a real a nuanced kind of take on politics, everything, to be like.
But that's maturing, right? You don't see stuff as black and white. You can hold two different opposing ideas, and
maybe
just
I'm
be
just
like,
an older guy now, and my extreme my angst of my youth, which actually was productive and achieved things, has all been kind of withered away. I've been beaten down by society,
but I think in a different way, we still passionately call out bullshit or stuff that's anti-human. Like regardless of what side of the fence it's from, or there's stuff.
I just think it's inherently unhardcore to be like, well, fat people will die from COVID, so fuck the fat people.
But there are,
go to the gym.
But there are those kind of vicious elements of hardcore.
You're right, like only the strong survive, right? Because you could write a song being like, only the strong survive, and it'd be like, that's totally fucking hardcore. That's what it's all about. Strong mentality. If you're weak, like you're too weak for this world. Rah, rah, rah.
I've heard on stage in New Zealand, if you can't feed them, don't breed them.
And then at the end of the song, at the end of the song, you were like, this is just all about how we should end government help for disabled people and just let them wither and die. Like the horrible sentiment, right? If you said that, I think you'd quite rightly be cancelled in the hardcore scene, right? But what did you mean when you said only the strong survive, and like that? So what I'm getting at is that you can twist this, because everyone's so angsty and extreme. You can twist the stuff and take it in whatever direction you want.
Yeah.
You can listen to a song and be like, that song's totally about this.
Well,
Wasn't about that.
Isn't it crazy how somebody? It is very difficult to survive in this current climate, because someone can pick apart your lyrics and tell you what you were thinking and get a group to back them up and say, no, your song's about this, or what you said is about this. And you're like, sorry, the person who just said it and was thinking about it told you what I was talking about. No, you mean this? No, this song's about this. And you're like,
that's dangerous. That's dangerous territory. Yeah. That's into like picking someone else's political or theological viewpoint. But there is
at the same time, right? There is totally important to stand up, and I think it's important as a scene to protect our scene, to protect the members of our scene, to be inclusive, and anyone that has a view that's detrimental to that, needs to be called out. But it's like, I think the thing is you can write a song, you can write a whole album of songs about like killing your ex-girlfriend, very thinly veiled, right? And somehow, like, but then I think if you were like, if it came out that a member of a band was abusive in a domestic situation,
you could go.
I don't think the band would do very well in the hardcore scene, right? We're pretty good at. I think we're pretty good at
keeping people honest.
I mean, that's an extreme situation, though. I mean, but it seems like everyone takes a negative approach first, because I feel like the hateful, let's just say the perceived hate, or the perceived hate of me and my band pushes me harder. You know what I mean? Like, don't think I can do that then. Is that right? You think that sucks? I'd rather be loved and hated than everyone think
that's
that what I do is okay.
That's often a driver for people, right? You're told you're going to fail, so it motivates you.
You double down,
yeah.
And then the double cross. I love the double cross. Like, I always find myself like, if everyone's talking about something, or it's an echo chamber and everyone's just talking with and agreeing with themselves, I'll often go on the completely opposite view, just for a laugh.
Yeah.
Because it just like, it gets tiresome, especially within the hardcore scene. Yeah. Especially within the hardcore scene, you turn up and everyone's got this one viewpoint, and you're like, man, that's a whole lot of bots. It's like I'm hanging out with a whole lot of like NPCs. So yeah, a lot of that has fueled me. But I mean, we should get back to the music. So the last bands that you guys were doing, let's start off with one that was before Drop Off Point, Regime.
I was just thinking about one song, because Gareth mentioned feeling like he was getting burnt around the straight edge lyrics. There was a song and Regime did called The Riddler, and Ridian, his nickname was The Riddler.
Okay.
And it's a really spiteful, aggressive song towards someone. And I think I heard back through that he thought it was about him. It wasn't about him. It's about another guy called Dave Riddell, who's a Nelson-based Christian counsellor, basically. And he's got a lot of amazing ideas, but he's got a very narrow viewpoint. Well, basically his premise is it's a level playing field for everyone. So something that I kind of firmly disagree with. So that was what the song was directed towards him. Then the Regime.
Also, privilege isn't a thing.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, he's like, don't be a victim. If things are hard for you, don't be a victim. Rise above it. It's like, well, that's easy to say for people like David Riddell and myself, because there's a lot of going for us to rise above it and just get on with life. But there are other circumstances for people. Anyway, the band itself was Nick Cullen, who was in Roll with the Punches. He's an incredible musician, a great songwriter. He was the guitarist. Izzy, who drummed an Antagonist, he did the drums for it.
Yeah, the opening song, the fill. So good.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. And it just gave me, because I can picture Izzy in my head and his whole look.
Yes.
And I just,
Yeah, he's a great timekeeper. He just thrashes the drum kit. Mikey
Shields is in the band.
Yeah, Mikey Shields is the bassist. Yeah.
Mikey loves a shout out on the pod, bro. Say his name a couple more times.
Mikey Shields, love you, brother.
Yeah.
Love you. Yeah. I saw him recently at Blink 182. Of all places, so it's great to see him, and he's got got a long history with the music scene. He's playing at the moment with Standover. He's in Standover?
Standover, yeah.
And then Bones jumped in on the action.
5-piece, was it?
Yeah, 5, so 2 guitarists.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And then I think Nick exited at some point to go to Aussie, and then Bones kind of carried on for a little bit. But that was very much a hang out, just play the 4 songs we know, and then just yarn. Yeah, it was not a productive band.
Well, what about lyric wise? So as an accumulation of all your years as a vocalist and a lyricist, and your last kind of piece of work, what did you settle on, or what were your kind of go-tos? What did you?
I guess the opening song is the opening song the Fuck the Government song.
I'm pretty sure it's either the first or the second.
Yeah, that's very very much at that time was.
Who was the Prime Minister?
Yeah, that was a John Key situation, I think. Yeah, as you know, I'm not a.
Have you heard? Were you guys at Moff's party?
Yeah, he was celebrating the election win there. It's so good.
So
you're winding up Dylan.
So that's an example of the whole room is like waiting for Labour to win, right? And everyone's talking about this, and I'm like not interested in it. But I'm just walking. Not only am I not interested in it, I'm hearing the same thing around the room. So I'm like, this will be fucking funny.
Yes.
I'm John Key's biggest supporter now. Next minute, I'm tackled across the room, both hands around my throat. Because when he wins, bro, so funny. I remember it. We're in the lounge. Everyone's quiet, waiting for the election results. Bro, comes up, national, wins, and the whole room's silent, bro. And it's just me. Yes.
Yeah.
And next minute, I just get tackled from the hip, bro. I was like, when my hands were up, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway,
all that pent up aggression came out.
And I think it was worth it.
This is hopefully within the hardcore sphere and within our societal sphere. It's still okay to have good conversations across that political divide, and you don't need to tackle and choke the person when they're celebrating their political win. Yeah.
But you should have let me have it, eh? Come on, man.
Yeah, just let me celebrate. I
was a new fan as well, man.
The economy rules.
Yeah.
So the lyrics of that song basically centered around. It's not National's fault. It's Labour's fault too. The neoliberal approach, which is largely made poor people poorer. So that's kind of what that was about. So even though I was saying fuck John Key, I was really fuck all those governments. They're all liars, like
they all do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
One does press releases about being kind while doing the same thing, and the other one does press releases about how they're going to change shit, but
they don't.
They change it. Well, I would say for the worst, but I think the reality is the deep state runs the country.
Right. Here we go.
I put a question on the New Zealand Metal page about that. You guys jumping on. So let's have a look. So who inspired your vocal styles initially for Ryan and Dave? Much love for OMF and the Guns. That's from Brent West.
Oh, yeah. Every man for himself.
Hey, Brent.
Yeah. What's up, Brent? Yeah, I think he's over in Waiheke now. I think for me, personally, initially I was very much into the metal stuff. So bands like Morning Again, I remember I was like, man, I love those vocals. Morning Again, I was like, that's what I wanted to emulate. But I think pretty quickly I got into the New York hardcore style. Yeah, Freddie Madball would probably be my inspiration vocally.
Cool. You, Dave?
Oh, I'm trying to cast my mind back, but I would say like local bands definitely Promise of Bloodshed, Misled by Lies, and then internationally Zao.
Cool.
They were a Christian metal band, I think. What was some?
There was some hard out screaming in Zao. That was like when Under Oath wasn't singing, and just if Under Oath didn't have singing, that was kind of like Zao and it turned up,
Yeah, I really liked Zao. I remember making my own Zao t-shirt.
I think Boozy and Moth were fans of them. Like that was a popular band.
Yeah.
Rex Jackson says it's roll with the punches, not rolling with the punches.
Not rolling with the punches.
Paul Harvey, is it time they did a dual vocal attack band together?
Yeah, I'd say we need to have Mikey Shields on bass for that. Or maybe the Moth. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, after having Moth, little Uzi, Moth, Izzy, and Boozy on the thing, it's kind of like racked up their passion for it. So like, I've been helping out Boozy with like guitar gear, and I think actually today he picked up his guitar for the first time in years.
Yeah.
So and he was always the guy like, nah, not picking it up. So like
I think
back on memory lane.
if Boozy came down to Hamilton, we could very easily do a due vocal band
True.
with Josh and Izzy.
We've got another.
And if Mikey Shields wants to come up from Taranaki, and he could easily join on second guitar.
World's best bassist. What? Second guitar. World's best bassist. All right, got another one from Michael J. Only question I'd have would be to hear about any false starts or unrealized projects.
False starts. Yeah.
Did you guys try and rack up anything with anyone that never happened?
Well, that was a band that I did do a band with. We had a couple of practices with Boozy and Izzy and Josh.
Boozy, Izzy, and Josh. True.
Yeah. Well, I've done some practices with them. This is
What year was that?
I'm just gonna say it was a 2014 or 2015 or something.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So it was going to get off the ground, but I think Josh had young kids, and also Izzy with young kids. I kind of found I could still find some time. I guess I've got a more what's the word? Graceful wife to sort of leave me get away and just do things. So, but it could, now that their kids are older, it could be a thing.
I had one band that went on for quite a while. The break-in was pretty quiet, and I was driving up to Auckland every Monday or Tuesday night to do a band with Mark Newbold.
Oh yeah.
And I can't, unfortunately, I can't remember the names of the other guys in the band. They weren't like hardcore kids. Like the drummer was, I feel like he came from a punk background, and the guitarist was like more like a rock guy.
Yeah.
And it definitely had like a rock feel, like a Gallows kind of rock
Cool.
and roll, heavy rock and roll vibe. But I don't think the guitarist digged my style.
True.
We actually recorded, and I really wanted to produce some vocals that fit the style of music, but like I say, I can't sing. I really it's a common theme. I think if we talk about drop off point at all, it's a common theme for me. I really struggle now these days to write anything. I think lyrically, I think there's some. I'm really happy with the lyric set from Roll with the Punches. It's probably it's almost like it peaked.
Okay.
And now I write something down, I immediately look at it and cringe.
True.
So yeah,
I've got a big self-conscious thing with lyrics so hard because I write all the music and the lyrics for Exile, and the lyrics are almost straight up are almost impossible for me.
And you got to feel strongly enough about something to present yourself on stage in that authentic way. I remember Regime had a surfing song, and that's where it gets to, where it's like, well, what is my life about these days that I'm actually passionate and want to yell about? And I just really struggled with that band with Mark Newbold and the other guys to actually come up with a set of lyrics.
So you did a whole EP for Drop Off Point then. So what come in there?
Yeah, so that was probably the reason why Drop Off Point was, in terms of my involvement, was probably always had an end date, or was a finite involvement. So if I had the creative juices flowing, that the lyrics were there and ready to go, it maybe could have worked. But the reality is, in that void of any lyrics, Gareth, Bones in particular, had lyrics.
Oh yeah, no way.
And so when I remember the first Drop Off Point kind of jam session, I thought it was going to be like a weekend at Ben's K-Drum studio, just kind of feeling each other out and recording some stuff if we got round to it, trying to figure out what the style of the band was going to be, what everyone wanted to do, maybe bouncing some lyrics around. I took a notebook up to sort of jot some ideas down. Turn up and Bones is straight into the studio, just tracking guitars, and then he's like, "Here's the lyrics for the song." I'm like, they're just not my lyrics.
Yeah.
And so it's real hard to kind of get yourself in that
Zone.
that level and that zone with someone else's lyrics. It's just real simple stuff. Like I think they've got a lot of songs about like tattoos and tattoos under my skin for the memories, and songs about quite personal stuff that that Bones experienced. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like this probably does need to be out there and needs to be sung, but.
Good that he was venting it from his point of view, and that was his expression. But
I've never been in a band where I sung someone else's lyrics, like, frankly. So it was just like, And so I was like, in that first experience, I was like, well, let's just track these songs and get these done, and then maybe we'll keep these for a while and we'll write new stuff together, and that'll supersede this. And like I say, the lyrics just didn't come. And in the meantime, more lyrics came from Bones and Gareth for like new songs. And even when I did write songs, it was really clear, so I'd write a set of lyrics and I'd be like, I need to play with these lyrics over the song, figure out how they worked, and then Bones would be like, I'll make your lyrics kind of work, and I've written a few extra bits and pieces. And I'm like,
yeah, fair enough.
It's like it's totally. I think it's a pretty mutual thing. I think you'd call it creative differences.
Yeah.
That's always a euphemism for like not getting along, but it wasn't. I don't think it was a case of that at all. It was just a case of like, I think that band is very much Bones' baby.
Yeah.
And that they have input from all the band members now.
Yeah.
But it's Bones' baby. Like he'd done his time in Daredevil. As like the young kid in the band, even in Regime, Nick I think was the primary songwriter, so he's just absolutely champing at the bit with ideas.
Yeah,
he just wants to put them out there, and that's
fair.
Fine, but yeah, I kind of, if I'm gonna, and the other thing was, if I was a young cat again, if I was 18, with no responsibilities, sweet as, I'll come and sing your lyrics, no trouble. We're getting booked for some big shows. This is awesome.
Yeah,
as a 37-year-old dad of two, with limited time, I'm like, if I'm doing something like this, it needs to be my creative outlet.
Yeah,
it
needs to be your art. It needs to be, you need to be pushing something for that to get that satisfaction back of. Yeah. And
so the unfortunate thing about it was that I probably used the fact that I had kids and my wife wanted me at home to do stuff as like an excuse to, not put 100% into it. But the reality is, I think if I was really, really feeling it, my wife would have seen how much it meant to me.
Yeah.
And it would have been like, yeah, sweet, I'll take the kids. It's obviously your thing.
Yeah.
But I'd come home and be like, just not so sure about this. And she'd be like, well, I've just been looking after the kids for the whole night. Like, if you're not that into it, what are you doing?
What are you doing? True.
Yeah. So stakes were higher, for me personally. And just wasn't quite what I was into. But the cool thing about it was that Mikey came into drop-off point and just killed it. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. His first like couple of shows, he'd never done it before. He had a different vocal style to me, and they already had the awkward thing where they had the recording out there already with my vocals on there. And Mikey was like slightly different. And not to say he's like been influenced by my style, but he's just found his own, like, he's taken his default of where he started, which was quite like almost like a low death metal kind of growl, and he's brought a little bit more shouting into it, and now it's like I could actually listen to some drop-off point songs, like little snippets on Instagram, and be like, I don't know if that's me or Mikey. Like,
so I agree with you. It was a smooth transition, eh?
Yeah.
It was a smooth transition. It wasn't like a record stop kind of moment, like when you changed like the songs. It was like
it's perfect. Like they're boys, like, for one, like the three of them go way back, and he hadn't done it before. Super keen. He probably didn't want to write lyrics. Maybe he does write lyrics now. I don't know. But he's like, oh, sweet. There's a full book of songs that I can just jump up and just learn them and do it. Yeah. Apparently, he killed it as well. Like they were like, here's the recording. Can you do this? And turn up to a practice and smashed it.
Yeah, good on you, Mikey.
Yeah,
good on you.
He's a great frontman. Yeah. I think he's been, from what I've watched of Drop Off Point, I think he brings great energy, and I think when I saw them the last SmackDown, I think they were Bones can get upset with he can get upset at the if things are a bit looser than he likes them to be, but that guy Mikey brings good kind of organic hardcore energy, which is what you want from a frontman. I think that's probably my passion for hardcore, is it needs to be raw and real. It doesn't need to be ultra rehearsed. Yeah. Anyway.
One of the questions is, what was behind the band name Emily Flies to the Sun, or whatever it was, lol?
Who's that from?
Caleb Webb. Existence.
Emily Shot the Sun.
Yeah.
There was I think there's actually probably a yarn there, or an explanation. There was a kind of emo-ish clothing brand around at the time. Emily, she was like kind of like a Wednesday Addams type figure, like long black hair with the fringe and like black and white striped stockings. I think it was a girls' clothing brand, to be fair.
Yeah.
I feel like it was called Emily or something, or had some Emily type situation. I wrote the first song, which had the lyrics, I think we all shot the sun, and it was basically to do with like the world's ending. Some dystopian kind of emo thing, so yeah, probably just put the two together.
Right. All right, we've got the last ones from Wadsy. Dave, what was the transition from One Must Fall to Roll with the Punches? One was a Christian focused band with overt lyrics about God, etc., and one was a band with songs about drinking and lots of profanity.
Yep.
I'm curious about the personal journey between the two. I think we've covered most of that over this last couple hours.
I think One Must Fall went on for a long time, and so I would say that towards the end of One Must Fall, I was probably more inclined to write Roll with the Punches style lyrics. The change in the music style was a good catalyst for that.
Yeah.
Changing music style, changing vocal style, just didn't want to. But I'd say that, reiterate that point. Like, in terms of a lyric book, Roll with the Punches, I think a real pinnacle for me in terms of lyrics.
That's cool. Sure, I should revisit that. On revisiting, when I was listening to this, it was 21 Guns and One Must Fall and The Regime, and is Roll with the Punches on Spotify? Or is it just
I think it's on their drive, at least. I'd say Roll with the Punches would be right up there with one of my favourite New Zealand hardcore bands. Yeah,
cool.
The lyric "Roll with the Punches" is cutting you up, so what the motherfucking fuck is up? I mean, that's one thing, but and so there was a fun element to it. But there's some other songs on that CD where I'm like, they're my typical kind of lyric style that I really like, where they're a little bit
metaphorical. No.
What's the word for like depressing?
Poignant.
I don't know. Yeah, they're just a little more thoughtful. They're not angry. They're just like, when the one thing that you're holding on to is the person that you're lying next to, she doesn't want to be held so tight. Guess you're on your own tonight. Don't want to lose yourself. Like,
you're a bit of a poet, eh? Bit of a mad lyricist. Yes.
That's
quite talented.
I'm super proud of that. I'm not ashamed to say it. Like that was a time in my life, and I put it down and I put it down in lyrics, and they weren't silly. I took my time with it. The lyrics were coming to me though at the same time. So, yeah.
I feel like that has been a time when I have had a subject matter as at a particular time, and then if I've forgotten to write about that particular time at the time, it's very hard to just go back, be like, oh, this happened, but you were not in the same mindset. So you've got to do it at the time
to draw on it,
for it to be true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what Wadsy to Ryan says, what's up with the Spaceman candy sticks and juice?
How good.
Just having a little poke.
Yeah.
That's probably, but just, but silly, tongue-in-cheek kind of, probably a mixture of youth groupie and straight edge kind of.
You were a complete dork at that. I mean, you were hardcore as well when you were playing league and you were fronting a hardcore band. So like you were probably objectively cool in a lot of ways. But I remember, we were riding kids BMXs through town. You had this little backpack and you were we used to do work at after school care. So we actually supervised kids after school as our part-time job. So. And you were playing dice or something, or marbles. That's right, you were playing marbles. I remember you getting pulled over drinking a Royal Crown on a BMX, and a police officer pulled you over to be like, you're some hood rat, like drinking a beer, riding around town on a stolen bike. And you're like, no, this is my BMX. This is a cola. and they were like, we're going to have a look in your bag, and they had a look in your bag, and you had marbles. And I remember distinctly the cop being like, right, and then you showing your ID, and you might have been like 18 at the time, and he's like, so what you're telling me is you're an 18-year-old, you're riding around town on a BMX, drinking cola, and playing with marbles. Like, what a fucking loser. Yeah. I'm like, well, what would you prefer? That you were like, drunk and spewing somewhere outside a bar or something, you know? Like,
that was definitely one of those interactions I've had with police. That's just like, and I just didn't give a fuck. I'm just like, this is me. This is what I'm doing. And I guess maybe I took it too far with some of those lyrics. You know, like I got my spaceman candy sticks. It's like silly candy, fistful of just juice. I guess is just a. This is my beverage of choice. Like,
so maybe you wanted to be saying I've got a cigar and a whiskey, but you can't because you're straight edge. Yeah, you're straight edge youth group kid.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it was definitely a bit silly, but and I guess I just look at that as an era of that particular time, and there's stuff that I wrote in those lyrics of 21 Guns. I'm just like, I definitely cringe at it. There's a lyric there. It's like the boys are sitting tough and the girls are looking pretty. It's like, that's just.
Maybe the girls are tough.
Yeah, the girls are tough and the boys are pretty. Yeah, so like it just didn't need.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't have gender roles. Like maybe.
Non-binary.
Oh well.
Yeah. So I but it's just, to me, it's just a snapshot of that time of my life, and
I reckon that's pretty important. I reckon we've covered heaps over this podcast, and I think it's good to talk to friends, people that actually turn up to shows like currently. So it's like being in like the old guy era, let's just say, as like the elders of the scene, and that you guys, every time I turn up to Last Place, I see you guys, and people always tell me who I should have and haven't have on the pod, and it's usually I haven't met a lot of these people, and it's because they're not around anymore. So it's much easier to speak to people that are friends and that I have and it's cool to delve a little bit more into the history and stuff. So
well, we appreciate the invitation, and it's
I'll speak
easy,
to yourself, mate.
easy.
I fucking hated it.
It was easy for me to drive up and come have a conversation with you, Luke, and we're excited for your next venture in Europe, and I can definitely see what you've invested in Exile, but also in documenting and gathering stuff from shows and from people. So it's a little place and you don't get a lot of love back here in New Zealand, but I think there's enough people that will show an interest in the conversations, and we look forward to what you gather from Europe, and I'm sure you'll be back on these shores documenting and performing.
Well, when my visa runs out, I'll be back. But thank you, that was awesome. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Ryan.
So good to be here. Good to reminisce. I wish I could have been a little bit more like Jason and sort of just he was impressive, just bang 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 with. I feel like we were all over the place today, kind of traversed a lot of territory, but hopefully you find some gems amongst it.
Well, you see the comment section where people are like, oh, that was cool, or I was there, or it's your old band members, particularly the guys that you don't see, that maybe that
and the names you can't remember.
The names you can't remember. But I'll post up little things like this little thanks list over here.
Clayton.
People can walk.
Don't remember the other guys from the band.
From your current band.
No, that's Clayton. The band with Boulders, but I don't think they'd remember me either. To be honest, it was
So we'll see you back on stage with the break-in and some new music.
Keen as.
Yeah, that's awesome. No musical projects from you, Ryan?
Not at this stage. If Boozy's picking up a guitar, I'm more than keen to get involved with that. But hey, we'll see.
You should see the shit he's into. He's into some heavy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can work with whatever.
You might have to grab Dave's Darth Vader mask.
Yes.
I reckon he's going to get that down and dirty.
Does he want people to sing about what they're going to do to their exes and stuff?
I think it'll be golf based.
Yeah. Golf based.
Yeah. Oh, so if you can channel, this is what he told me, but not. If you can channel the angst of Happy Gilmore. Yeah. So golf with a bit of Happy Gilmore.
I've hooked and sliced a few shots in my time. So I could.
All right. On that note, thanks very much for driving up from Hamilton, boys. It's been a fucking pleasure. Absolutely.
Shot, brother.
Thanks.
There you go, boys. Yeah.
I think politics took a turn, eh?
I will delete all that.
And that's the end of the podcast. That was a cool conversation. My brief takeaway from that is how different we came into the scene. I came from the skate park and entered as an emo. There was a lot of drinking and parties. It's just interesting the different lives you can live and who can end up in the same room together playing this heavy music. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Kiwistyle podcast. Don't forget you can get episodes early by joining the Patreon. Support the channel. It's only a few dollars. Pick up some new merch from the Exile merch store. And I'll see you guys next time on the Kiwistyle podcast. Next time.